Live broadcast of Naruto begins with a movie The Death of Naruto. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 451. As the distance shortens, the thought that Jiraiya and Kakashi are dead emerges in Naruto's mind, causing his emotions, which had been calmed down with great difficulty, to fluctuate again, with frowns and a sullen face. Naruto's expression doesn't look like he's here to talk. If emotions were so easy to control, there wouldn't be so many disputes in this world. So he really came to see Nagato without thinking anything through. I don't think we'll have to fight again. How can he figure it out? He killed the lecherous sage and Kakashi-sensei. Naruto muttered vaguely, and his mood became worse again. Looking at his gnashing teeth, Nagato asked, "Do you hate me? Your enemy is right in front of you, you want revenge, right? Even if you kill Nagato now for revenge, the world won't change at all. It's just your self-satisfaction." Konan interrupted. At this moment, scenes flashed through Naruto's mind, including Paine's understanding of peace and humanity, the ninja system that even the fourth Hokage could not do anything about, and the unbearable hatred. Naruto clenched his fists and trembled all over. You don't even know the answer, so what can you do? The only thing you can do is to hand over the power of the Nine Tails for the peace I create. As he said this, Nagato activated the device under him without warning and shot a black stick at Naruto. It seems that Naruto came here to see if he can forgive Pain, but obviously he failed to do so. Don't even think about understanding and sympathy. Just fight for your life. No matter what, you can't just surrender. I'm curious about how much strength Nagato can exert in this state. I always feel that he will die after walking a few steps. Even if he has all the abilities of Pain, he will be easily targeted in this inconvenient state when riding on that kind of mechanical device. Looking at the black stick piercing Naruto's abdomen, Nagato said coldly, "At this distance, my chakra can control your actions at will. Don't worry, I avoided your vital points. After all, you are an important Jinchuriki." Naruto raised his head with anger on his face. The stimulated power of the tailed beast made his eyes appear with animal pupils, which combined with the original toad eyes to form a new cross pattern. The Nine Tails chakra that flowed along the black stick made Nagato realize belatedly that Naruto was hit by him on purpose. Naruto stood still, forced himself to calm down and said, "I came here to talk to you, and I also have other things I want to confirm." Hey. Naruto's eyes, the power of the tailed beast and the sage mode are combined. It seems that the two are not incompatible. It was because of the Nine Tails that he couldn't merge with the two old toads before. If you want to confirm anything, you don't have to stand there and take Nagato's attack. If anything goes wrong, everything will be lost. Probably to Nagato said he was not a threat. He took a step back to show his sincerity in the conversation. I want to know what I think. If I face my enemy, what will I do? Naruto narrowed his eyes and said with a slight tremor. Nagato also wanted to know, so he asked, "So, what is your answer?" "Sure enough, I can't forgive you. I want to kill you now. The trembling in my body can't be stopped at all." Naruto pulled out a black stick on his stomach with both hands, and then rushed towards Nagato in Konan's unbelievable eyes. However, just when his fist was about to hit Nagato, Jiraiya's figure appeared in Naruto's mind again. Thinking of the bright smile on his face when he said, "It's great to have you as a disciple," Naruto suddenly stopped, with a look of unwillingness on his face. As expected, he can't forgive the other party. It's all because of the ideals entrusted to him by Jiraiya that he didn't put it into action. This makes it seem real. The village has just been destroyed, and the people he cares about have just died at the hands of the other party. If Naruto can forgive the other party so easily, then I should doubt whether Naruto's feelings are real. So this is Naruto's way of dealing with it? Although it's hard to accept it psychologically, but force the body to accept it? Would Nagato agree with this approach? This approach is more difficult than directly forgiving the enemy, but it's meaningless. If his thoughts can't be communicated, his heart will be overwhelmed by hatred sooner or later, and this will only delay the ending that should have happened. Nagato commented coldly. Obviously, this performance was not enough to impress him to give up his own plan. Naruto understood a little bit why the self on the sky curtain forgave Nagato. After Jiraiya died in the battle, what was left to him besides memories was the dream entrusted by Jiraiya. Out of respect for his master, No matter how unwilling he was, he could not really trample on Jiraiya's dream, so it was understandable that he stopped before the fist was thrown. But understanding is understanding, which does not mean that Naruto can accept it now. After all, his master is still sitting next to him alive. So Naruto's current thoughts are more about defeating Nagato first. As for how to deal with him later, who cares? Anyway, just fight first and talk about it. The lecherous sage said that the era when people truly understand each other will eventually come, and he has always believed in this. Naruto retracted his fist and hung his head in frustration. When he said this, I just listened and didn't think about it. He said that he entrusted me with the answer to finding this method, and I simply thought that this was a recognition of my disciple, and I was just happy. Now that I think about it, I finally understand what the lecherous sage meant. It's not that simple. But you still can't forgive me, right? If you can let it go so easily, it's not human emotion. Nagato once again denied Jiraiya's ideal, the naive dream that he had abandoned and far away from reality. Don't expect a 12 or 13-year-old boy to understand this kind of truth. It's funny that he can think of the answer without actually experiencing it. There are many people in the ninja world who have had this kind of experience, but the reality is that no one has been able to come up with a perfect solution until now. Peace is really just a false proposition, even if it really exists in the prophecy. Chapter 452. Ordinary peace can still be achieved. Hasn't the Third World War lasted for more than a decade? The difficult part is the kind of peace that Jiraiya talked about, where everyone understands each other. Although I really want to support Naruto, my reason tells me that this kind of thing is impossible to achieve. Nagato sees human emotions more clearly than anyone else. Although his ideas are a bit extreme, they are much more pragmatic than Naruto's boastful talk. Boastful talk? Naruto just doesn't have a specific direction. If he had one, do you think he would risk his life to achieve it? Tisk. This assumption again. Now the key is that Naruto can't figure out how to achieve it. This is the answer Nagato was waiting for. Didn't you say before that you would defeat me and bring true peace to the ninja world? Even if it was just a polite remark, even if it was just revenge for self-satisfaction, if that is your justice, then it's fine. After all, you are not a god. Nagato looked deeply into Naruto's eyes and asked, but after seeing this reality, can you really believe in Jiraiya's jokes? After learning that you are also a disciple of the lustful sage, there is something I want to ask you no matter what. Naruto did not respond directly to Nagato's question, but instead made other requests. Hell, I'm also curious about how Naruto evaluates Jiraiya's ideals. It feels like there is no room for easing up. If Jiraiya's ideals are not believed in, then Jiraiya's ideals will be meaningless. But from Naruto's performance, he obviously failed to do so. Don't you think Naruto is forcing himself to believe what Jiraiya said, even if he doesn't agree with it? Unless he is a fool, no normal person would believe Jiraiya's words without reason. At least there must be reasons and conditions to support this idea. Isn't that what Naruto is doing now? Just kidding. It's really frustrating. Jiraiya said with a wry smile, but he didn't feel offended. After all, he knew how difficult it was to achieve his ideals. It was understandable that Nagato, who had been seriously hurt, couldn't accept it. You were once the disciples of the lecherous sage. Why did you become like this? You are not like the previous members of Akatsuki who only enjoy killing people. I know this, but I know nothing about you, so I want to hear your story and find the answer. Okay, I will tell your pain one by one. Nagato agreed to Naruto's request. Although Konan advised him not to make things complicated, Nagato insisted on hearing Naruto's answer. I have two biggest pains, one of which is the death of my parents. As Nagato narrated, the scene came to his past. What is Naruto talking about? What do you mean by other members enjoy killing, but Nagato and the others are different? Is it really okay to treat them separately like this? Don't elevate the individual behavior of the organization members to the organization itself. It has nothing to do with the organization's boss. He doesn't seem to have said anything wrong. Among the Akatsuki members who have performed so far, Deidara is a bomber who talks about art, Hiden is a psychopath who talks about gods, Kakuzu is a mercenary who talks about money, and even Itachi is a Konoha member who talks about his younger brother. Push people, compared to Nagato's great ideal of peace in the ninja world, the others do seem to be people who will kill for some inexplicable reasons. No wonder Naruto treats them differently. The ideal is great, and the damage caused is greater than that of others combined, right? Then I would rather face those who enjoy killing people, The never-ending heavy rain fell on a small village that looked like a ruin. Under the protection of his parents, the young Nagato shivered and hid in the corner of the house, listening to the voices of two strangers coming from the living room in fear. From the conversation between the two, Nagato's parents judged the identity of the other ninja. For safety reasons, they planned to take Nagato away while they were searching for food, but they accidentally made a noise after they started to act, which attracted the attention of the two intruders. In the unlit corridor, Nagato's father rushed towards the two ninjas in order to protect the other two. Because of this action, the two ninjas mistakenly thought he was an enemy and attacked him without thinking. Seeing this, Nagato's mother also stood in front of another attacking ninja. Just like that, two ordinary people who posed no threat fell under the attack of the ninja. Nagato was terrified and shed tears. Looking at his parents who were killed, Zang no sound came out of his mouth. Tisk, this is the way to die. I admire Nagato for living with Jiraiya for 3 years. Did Nagato's parents overreact? If they had immediately covered their heads and squatted down, they would have had a greater chance of survival. The people above must be from a large ninja village, and they have never experienced war. Don't take people like Naruto and Kakashi who are full of sympathy as common examples. In such situations, the safest move is to strike first. Otherwise, you are playing with your own life. Even if it is confirmed that there is no threat, it does not mean that it is safe. Ninjas in wartime are all nervous, and it is not uncommon to massacre civilians. The two ninjas realized that the three people in front of them were just ordinary people, and they were suddenly a little panicked, because they did not expect that there would be ordinary people staying in such a war zone. One of the ninjas squatted in front of Nagato carefully and apologized. At this time, the lightning outside the house allowed Nagato to see the pattern on the forehead of the person in front of him clearly, which was the symbol of Konoha. Suddenly, a force that he had never felt before surged out of Nagato's body, driving him to roar and pounce on the two people. When Nagato came to his senses, he saw that the two Konoha ninjas who killed his parents had fallen in front of him without a breath. Nagato had no memory of the rampage and had no idea what happened. After seeing his parents who also fell to the ground and died, he burst into tears. It's actually in the war zone. Are ordinary people really not afraid of death if they stay here? Do you think you can survive if you leave? We are not a country rich in resources. It is very difficult for people who have left their homes to find a new place to settle down. If possible, who would be willing to stay in a war zone where they are in danger of losing their lives? Chapter 453. It turns out that the Rinnegan had already awakened at this time, and Yahiko was just reactivated that time. It seems that the power is not very stable. No wonder, without anyone teaching, it is not easy to control the eye technique of the Rinnegan. These two Konoha ninjas are so hypocritical. They just killed someone's parents, and now they are pretending to apologize? Then why don't you commit suicide to apologize? I think they are too polite. They should go all out and kill Nagato as well, whether it is intentional or unintentional, and whether it is a sincere apology or a hypocritical one. It is an indisputable fact that Nagato's parents died at the hands of Konoha ninjas. This is the most critical point. In the Hokage's office, Tsunade covered her forehead with a headache. She could understand why such a thing happened. There were many ninjas who lost contact with the main force due to various reasons during the war. But why was it such a coincidence that she happened to meet a civilian with the Samsara eye, and she just happened to kill the other person's parents? Fortunately, Tsunade did not have Jiraiya's ideal of mutual understanding, so although she was a little sorry, she quickly calmed down. Call her double standards or hypocrisy. Anyway, if Nagato really hurt Konoha, Tsunade would still counterattack Nagato without hesitation, and would not hold back at all because of this matter. My parents died in the hands of you Konoha ninjas. The pain at that time was unforgettable, and I still can't forget it today. This pain turned into hatred, which opened my power, and it was only after a long time that I realized that the person who killed two Konoha ninjas at that time was actually me. After burying his parents, Nagato, who had little food left, dragged his small body away from the house. He walked alone on the desolate land in the pouring rain, and then one day he fell on the road because of hunger. Fortunately, the licking of an equally dirty stray dog prevented Nagato from falling asleep, allowing him to take steps towards an unknown destination again, but this time there was another stray dog accompanying him. It's not easy for an orphan to survive alone in the wild, even if he has the Samsara eye. After all, this thing can't fill his stomach. It's despairing to look at it. Moving forward without a goal is just a slow death. How many wandering ninjas appeared like this, and everyone set out with the idea of taking one step at a time, because there is no other way. Despite this, without food, Nagato couldn't go far. He insisted on coming to a desolate town, but with no one to help him, he eventually fell on the way to continue moving forward. Just when Nagato thought he was going to die like this, a dry bread was handed to him. Konan, who was dressed simply but well-groomed, squatted beside Nagato with an umbrella. In this way, relying on the compassion of Konan, Nagato and the stray puppy survived. Afterwards, Nagato was taken to Konan's base, where he met the person who influenced his life, Yohiko. Konan, who is he? Yohiko asked with a little adult look, and Konan replied, I'm sorry, I think he's almost dead. Are you kidding me? You even picked up the dog. What's his name? Yohiko walked over with a look of disgust, and Nagato replied a little stiffly, Little one. Your name is really strange. That's the dog's name. Tisk, it's all because of Konan that there are these stories later. It would be funny if the owner of the Samsara starved to death there. At this time, Nagato's mentality has not changed. The war orphans will do everything they can to survive. Not to mention that Nagato himself has great power. At that time, I met Konan, who is here now, and a boy named Yohiko. They were all war orphans, but the two of them survived tenaciously. I became their companion, Nagato told Naruto, who was looking at him seriously. We stole things for a long time. The small country in the war could not provide any help to us orphans. We, who didn't even have a place to live, could only rely on this to survive. But even in this situation, Yohiko still didn't give up hope. One day, on the way back to the base, Yohiko suddenly asked Nagato what his dream was, and he didn't wait for him to finish his words in response. He said to himself, I don't want to stay here forever. I have a big dream, to conquer the world. Yohiko is quite capable. He and Konan, two orphans, have collected so many supplies. Because orphans without skills have died long ago, just like Nagato said, in order to survive, they can only lower their bottom line. Yohiko looks quite restless. If he lived until now, Akatsuki would not necessarily be better than it is now. Are you too sensitive? This is just a child's joke. Didn't you have similar dreams when you were young, such as the strongest man in the world? Nagato didn't expect Yohiko to have such an unrealistic dream. Yohiko didn't blush at all. Although life was hard, it couldn't take away his right to fantasize. Seeing Yohiko's high-spirited statement that as long as you stand on top of the world, you can do whatever you want, Nagato smiled and responded, isn't that the same as being a god? Can wars also be eliminated? However, dreams cannot prevent the arrival of danger. A kune with an explosive tag suddenly fell from the sky, and the three little ones who had no time to react were blown away in an instant. Fortunately, the explosion was still a certain distance away from them, so Nagato and the other two survived, but the puppy who followed them was not so lucky. He lay on the ground and lost his breath. So far, Nagato's ideas have all been learned from others. If you want to understand, you must first suffer the same harm. If you are hurt, you will grow. Now even the idea of God comes from Yohiko. Doesn't he have any ideas of his own? There's nothing wrong with this. Learning from others and integrating them into your own things is what learning is all about. Chapter 454. How should I put it? It's not bad, but it's easy to be influenced by others. If someone with ulterior motives comes at this time, it's easy to be led by the nose if you don't have your own opinion. So, Nagato's crazy plan was instigated by others, that's the thing. As for whether he was instigated by others, probably only he knows. Nagato knew who the barrage was talking about, but he didn't think his thoughts were influenced by him. Nagato still remembers that when they first met Ifei, Yohiko had already expressed his distrust of him. And after Yohiko's death, Nagato has always been vigilant in his contact with him, otherwise there would not have been a disagreement when capturing the tailed beast before. However, Yohiko didn't have the energy to care about these things at this time, because there were still explosions around him. Following the direction of the battle sound, Yohiko carefully poked his head out on a hilltop, and the two sides fighting happened to be Hanzo, the leader of Yugakure, and the young Konoha Sannin. The ones fighting there were Jiraiya-sensei and his ninjas, who were later called the Three Ninjas of Konoha. Their opponents were Hanzo, the leader of Omegakure. The battle was extremely brutal. Later, under Yohiko's command, the three of them carried the little dog's body away from the battlefield. Looking at Nagato, who was sobbing while holding the dog's body, Yohiko was full of resentment. Damn it, damn it, damn it. What? This world of constant war. I want to become the god of this world. Yohiko clenched his fists, trembling all over, with an expression more serious than ever before. Nagato was staring at him blankly with tears in his eyes. At that time, Yohiko's dream also became my dream. So I met the Sannin at this time. It seems that our meeting later was not a coincidence. Maybe he was joking just now, but Yohiko seems to be serious now. He really regards becoming a god as his goal. Does it matter if he is serious or not? In the end, it is still a child's idea. What is the difference between a wish without a channel to realize it and the peace that Naruto has been pursuing? Nagato has the samsara eye, so it is barely reasonable to say this, but Yohiko can't. No matter how serious he acts, people who take this seriously are definitely rare. Why do I feel more and more like Naruto? After the three returned to the base, Nagato hugged the body of the little one and kept crying, which made Yohiko very uncomfortable, and scolded, Nagato, how long are you going to cry? Crying when encountering problems will not change anything, just like this country. I want to change this country. But just saying it won't work. I need strength. Yohiko looked into the distance without confusion. We have to learn ninjutsu. Perhaps it was a broken jar, or perhaps it was because he was skilled and bold. Yohiko actually set the goal of becoming a disciple on Jiraiya and others. Under his insistence, the three buried the little one, and then returned the supplies in the base to the merchants they had stolen, and started the journey of searching for people with only some necessary supplies. Well, it's not just talk, at least there is a concrete action plan, but this is too bold. How could he think of going to the Sannin to become his apprentice? He is risking his life. Anyway, there is no other way. He can only gamble whether the Sannin is willing to accept him as a disciple. Can't you join Hanzo? With Hanzo's personality, how could he take in three little brats of unknown origin? And judging from Yohiko's attitude towards this country, he should be very dissatisfied with Hanzo's rule. The subsequent development is just as shown before. After a dangerous journey, the three caught up with the young Sannin, and were taken in by Jiraiya out of compensation. But I still can't accept Konoha's ninjas. As for the reason, I think you should understand. Naruto had a complicated expression when he heard this. Nagato continued, but Jiraiya-sensei gives people a different feeling. Just like that, the life of four people began, and then that incident happened not long after. We were attacked by the remnants of the ninjas. Just when Yohiko was about to be killed, I fought back and killed the ninja. Of course, it was unconscious. If there was only a slight mistake in the middle, the current situation of the ninja world would not be what it is now. Tisk, it's incredible to think about it. 3 weak kids went through a war zone full of dangers to chase 3 ninjas, and they did it. It was as difficult as a Jinan going on an A-rank mission. Naruto, is an A-rank mission difficult? Funny laugh, I told you not to bring him up when discussing combat power. The only person who could make Nagato put aside his prejudice was probably Jiraiya. After all, he was really different. His innocent ideals were especially suitable for Nagato at that time. It's mainly because he looks harmless and often does stupid things. He doesn't pose any threat to others. It seems that I have some special ability, which is the pupil technique of the Rinnegan. After that incident, Jiraiya, who had no intention of teaching us ninjutsu, also started teaching us ninjutsu. Although the teacher said that they were all self-defense ninjutsu, it seemed to me that it was to enable me to control the power of the Rinnegan. But I was afraid of my own power. Hatred made me lose control. I thought I had done something wrong and was always blamed by guilt. At that time, it was the teacher who saved me. Then came the conversation on that rainy night. It was at that time that Nagato let go of his grudges and agreed with Jiraiya. He was also impressed by the topic of hatred, pain and growth that Jiraiya raised at that time. Tisk, although I have seen it once before, I still can't understand Jiraiya's approach. Why didn't he bring the people back to Konoha to teach them? Is Konoha short of food for these people or something? That depends on whether Nagato and the others are willing. Yohiko is most likely unwilling, and the other two follow his lead. Can Jiraiya still force them to return to Konoha? Then they are not disciples, but captives. This reason is barely plausible. Anyway, Nagato just needs a key to unlock his power. Even if he goes to Konoha, is there anyone there who can teach him to develop the Samsara Eye? Chapter 455. Teacher Jiraiya also asked himself the same question. But he couldn't find the answer, and you are the same now. Nagato stared at Naruto deeply, and then said, but I found the answer at once, that is to protect Yahiko and Konan, and I am willing to bear any pain for this. Back to that rainy night, Nagato opened his heart for the first time and took the initiative to communicate with Jiraiya. It was at that time that Jiraiya told him about his goal, which was to find the answer to peace. After 3 years of training, our bodies and minds have grown. What teacher Jiraiya said has always remained in the deepest part of my heart. The teacher said that he entrusted the task of finding the answer to peace to my samsara I. Although it is a prophecy, Jiraiya has been entrusting the answer to finding peace to others. Isn't it a bit too shameless? To give others something that you don't know the answer to. In fact, Nagato didn't think about finding peace at the beginning, just to respond to Jiraiya's expectations. Isn't this the relationship between master and disciple? It's just that in reality, most people don't growing up completely in accordance with the teacher's expectations. Usually with the increase of experience, one's own understanding is added, so it is not surprising that there will be examples like Nagato who went completely the opposite way. After entrusting the important task of peace to me, the teacher left us. After that, we started to act with Yahiko as the leader, and the organization quickly became famous. The concept of creating peace without relying on power and force was deeply recognized by everyone. But Yugakure is still in the war between the 3 ninja villages of Iwagakure, Konoha and Sand Village. After hearing the rumors about us, the leader of Yugakure, Hanzo, took the initiative to contact us because he could no longer ignore our existence. Hanzo proposed to negotiate peace with the 3 major countries with us as the core, hoping to get a peace agreement from the 3 major countries through our power. We decided to assist him in this idea. Well, this organization is the predecessor of Akatsuki. The leader at the beginning was Yahiko, who seems to be more suitable than Nagato. It is completely practicing Jiraiya's philosophy. The boy who said he wanted to become a god was the one who was most influenced by Jiraiya. This organizational philosophy, Jiraiya has done a lot of harm to people. I admit that it does sound beautiful, but it is really unrealistic, especially in a war-torn country like Yugakure, plus there's Hanzo. With a man like Jiraiya at the top, I don't even need to think about what happened next. Let's not talk about Hanzo first. Why would the 3 major countries listen to their advice? Do you really think that all the ninjas from the major countries have the same personality as Jiraiya? It seems that they developed well at the beginning. Even Hanzo took the initiative to contact them. However, the more this is the case, the more it shows that their situation is quite dangerous. Didn't Jiraiya tell them what kind of personality Hanzo has during his 3 years of teaching? How could he tolerate someone in the Hidden Rain village being on equal footing with him? I harmed them. Jiraiya frowned deeply and murmured softly. The young and energetic Jiraiya has always been upset about his defeat at the hands of Hanzo, so he deliberately avoided topics related to Hanzo during teaching and training. It was because of this pathetic self-esteem that Yahiko and others believed that this outrageous cooperation plan would come from Hanzo. But all this became the beginning of the disaster. We were too naive, Nagato answered when Naruto asked. That's why Yahiko died. That was a trap set by Hanzo. He was worried that we would take away the leadership of Yugakure. Just because of this, Yahiko, that day, at the place where we agreed to negotiate, Konoha's Anbu and Hanzo's subordinates ambushed us. Hanzo colluded with a man named Danzo from Konoha and wanted to wipe us out. Danzo cooperated with Hanzo to compete for the position of Hokage, and Hanzo wanted to protect his rights in Yugakure. The reason why Nagato is so extreme is probably because of what happened to Yahiko. He followed Jiraiya's ideals but ended up like this. No wonder he sneered at Jiraiya's ideals. Before he had the power to defeat the entire ninja world, Jiraiya's ideal was like a flower in the water or a moon in the mirror. To put it bluntly, Yahiko was courting his own death. Why else do you think Jiraiya only entrusted his dream to Nagato? He must have understood the importance of power, but he didn't expect Yahiko to be so deeply influenced by him. Why is there still Danzo here? He is here. What do you want to do by getting involved? Why do you want to cooperate with Hanzo in the fight for the position of Hokage? Can Hanzo influence the selection of Hokage? Well, I remember that it was the 3rd Hokage who was in charge of the battlefield of Rain Village during the 3rd World War. Could it be that Danzo wanted Hanzo to kill the 3rd Hokage and then push himself to the position? I am speechless. Just to become the Hokage, Konoha provoked such an enemy. The key is that after this enemy arrived in Konoha, Danzo's figure was completely gone. As a result, after Naruto repelled the enemy, he ran out to grab the position of Hokage. This guy is crazy about becoming Hokage. Now you know why Jiraiya didn't bring Nagato back to Konoha. With such a lunatic around, the child of prophecy should be careful to be gouged out by him when he arrives in Konoha. In the Hokage's office, Tsunade's mouth twitched, once again confirming Danzo's nature as a troublemaker, and then once again wishing to slap the third Hokage a few times, wake him up and throw the mess back to him immediately. If you don't deal with Danzo quickly, why keep him for the new year? He has been showing off his power in Konoha for decades, and he has also taken away half of the Anbu controlled by the Hokage. Danzo is indeed the true love of the third Hokage. On the cliff, Hanzo held Konan hostage, using this as a threat to force Nagato to kill Yohiko. Stop, Nagato. Leave me alone, you two run away, the held Konan shouted regardless of his own safety. Yohiko knew that there was no other way to go, and someone had to sacrifice, so he looked at Nagato without hesitation and said, Nagato, kill me. Hearing this, Nagato suddenly showed a helpless expression. He remembered what he said to Jiraiya on that rainy night. He only wanted to protect both of them, but now he had to give up one of them. Chapter 456. Nagato, who was cornered, gasped and trembled as he pulled out the kunai that Hanzo had thrown in front of him. After staring for a moment, Nagato unconsciously raised his head and muttered Konan's name. Then, when he turned his head to look at Yohiko, a figure rushed over and grabbed his arm holding the kunai and ran straight into him. Sure enough, they are all naive, even Yohiko, who seems to be very responsible. Do you really think that if you follow Hanzo's instructions, the other two will survive? In that situation, there is no other choice except to take action directly. No matter how concerned Nagato is, he was confused and was manipulated by Hanzo's words. It became a situation where he had to choose one of the two to sacrifice. Tisk, Yohiko is too straightforward. Although his original intention was to save Konan, he didn't think about whether Nagato could bear it in his heart. They have been together for so long, and he still. Do you understand Nagato's character? He chose suicide just to save Nagato from having to suffer, even though this choice was wrong. Half embracing Nagato, Yohiko shed blood from his mouth as he stared into his dull eyes, saying incoherently, you and Konan must live no matter what. You are the savior of this world. If it's you, then it will definitely be possible, really. Yohiko. Konan, who saw the whole scene, let out a heart-wrenching cry. This is my second pain. I've grown up, but I still can't change anything like before, just like when my parents died. I finally realized that the answers I found before were worthless. Nagato's voice oversounded, explaining the inner feelings of Nagato, who had a desperate look in the picture. Although I know that they have such extreme thoughts, they must have experienced something very painful, but I still feel a little sad after seeing this scene. They all had such great ideals at the beginning. The ideal is indeed great, and no one can deny the correctness of this ideal, but it is wrong to hold such an ideal in the ninja world. Reality will teach you how to be a human being. It's not the ninja world that is wrong, but people like Danzo. It seems that this understanding is not wrong. Hanzo's motives for targeting Nagato and others are understandable, but Danzo is really inexplicable. He really won't stop until he torments Konoha to death. Konoha should investigate carefully, see if Danzo what enemies did we provoke in the past, so that no one will blow up Konoha in the name of revenge in the future. It feels like everything is stimulating Nagato to grow towards God, and Yohiko's last words are the last straw that broke the camel's back. We were so naive back then. Just because of Hanzo's lie, Yohiko ended up like that. Konan looked at Yohiko, who died generously on the sky with a sad face, while Nagato kept a cold face and whispered, it is because we were too stupid at that time that I will never forget Yohiko's death, nor the dream he entrusted to me. Yohiko died, but Hanzo had no intention of fulfilling the agreement, and directly ordered his subordinates to attack Nagato. A large number of kunai came towards him, and Nagato raised his arms with lifeless eyes, and bounced off all the attacks out of thin air, and then he jumped to the top of the cliff with his legs. Out of caution, Hanzo quickly distanced himself from Konan, and when Nagato came to Konan, he pressed the ground to control a large number of detonating tags to stick to Nagato's feet, and then detonated the detonating tags to explode with a strong flame. Nagato protected Konan, who was unharmed, and returned to the bottom of the cliff. The price was that his 2 calves were almost burned to charcoal. Is Nagato also the kind of person who can only exert his strength after his emotions are mobilized? If it was like this at the beginning, maybe he wouldn't have to go through all the previous things. It's meaningless to make such assumptions. Let's see how the battle between him and Hanzo goes next. His legs are disabled, no wonder he has to sit on the back of that device. Although it was achieved by holding hostages, Hanzo is really good at it. After letting Konan take Yohiko away, Nagato looked up at Hanzo with anger, and at this time Hanzo finally noticed the lines in Nagato's eyes. But the others were not so careful. Konoha's Anbu jumped off the cliff and attacked Nagato. Facing this situation, Nagato summoned the Outer Path Demon statue, a huge body comparable to the tailed beasts, and instantly swept away a large number of enemies rushing over. "Nagato, you can't use that!" Konan yelled at Nagato in panic, but Nagato could no longer hear anything. The Outer Path Demon statue and Nagato roared at the same time, and then nearly 10 black fork spikes stretched out from the Outer Path Demon statue's abdomen and pierced into Nagato's back. After absorbing a large amount of his chakra, Nagato's cheeks instantly became thinner. It turns out that Hanzo had never noticed Nagato's samsara eye before. No wonder he targeted Yohiko. By the way, Danzo's men are very active. Do they think the hatred is not enough? Danzo is really worried about destroying Konoha. Huh? Has this summoned beast called the Outer Path Demon statue appeared before? It looks familiar. In the Sky Curtain when the Uchiha brothers fought with Kabuto, it was finally controlled by Ifehi to confront Naruto. Nagato's summoned beast appeared in Ifehi's hands. Is this evidence that Nagato is controlled by Ifehi? Is this thing a summoned beast? It looks weird, and its ability is so strange that it can actually suck the summoner into this state. Despite this, Nagato still didn't care. While crying, he controlled the Outer Path Demon statue to spray out a chakra dragon. The invisible and intangible chakra dragon sucked out the souls of the ninjas who stayed on the cliff the moment it passed by. After destroying all the minions, it set its sights on Hanzo. Hanzo is worthy of being a man standing at the top of the ninja world. Even if such an unexpected accident happened, he remained calm and said in a deep voice, "It seems that you are the leader behind the scenes. You actually have the samsara eye. It's really surprising." However, Nagato was instantly enraged when he heard his voice. He let out a hysterical roar, and the chakra dragon opened its mouth and bit Hanzo. Chapter 457. How to defend against this kind of attack. You'll die if you get hit. There are very few techniques involving the soul in the ninja world. It's hard to imagine how difficult it is to find a way to deal with this situation. We can only attack Nagato or the summoned beast, or try to see if the ninjutsu can block it. See how Hanzo handles it. Without the information from the Rinnegan, Hanzo had no intention of fighting Nagato. He directly dodged the attack with the instant body technique, and then disappeared from here. Nagato had no intention of chasing. In Konan's sad eyes, he took off the Rain Hiden Ninja Forward Protector on his forehead, held a kunai and drew a horizontal line on it to represent the traitor. Yohiko died. Since then, I succeeded Yohiko as the leader of the organization. Later, my companions died in battle one after another. Many people died. Nagato stared at Naruto and said coldly, "The citizens of the Fire Country who indulged in the illusion of peace, those remunerations paid to Konoha for commission work later became funds for the war. The citizens of the Fire Country knew that they were indirectly funding the war, but they still talked about hypocritical peace. No way, that Hanzo actually ran away. At least fight. In fact, this is what smart people do. Without knowing the information, they take unknown risks and fight with the owner of the samsara eye. Fighting, everyone knows that this is a losing business. Hanzo is known as the man standing at the top of the ninja world, that is, the ninja among ninjas. How could he not understand the role of intelligence in battle? However, such a clean escape is somewhat beyond my expectation. Speaking of which, Nagato's attitude is too extreme. Not everyone has the vision to focus on the entire ninja world. Even in the land of fire, those ordinary people only care about what is happening around them. How can they have the time and energy to understand the miserable lives of civilians far away in the Hidden Rain village? Then this reason for invading Konoha is really a bit untenable. The point is not that they don't care, but that they indirectly subsidize the war while at the same time. Nagato must be disgusted by the topic of peace. Well, it's good enough to live a good life these days. It has nothing to do with us if people in other countries don't live well. If you want to blame someone, blame their leaders for not providing them with stable living conditions. It's not appropriate to vent your anger on others just because of this. Look, this is the root of the conflict between the two sides. People in a peaceful environment don't know or want to know how people in war-torn areas live. Nagato himself knows this, but Jiraiya and Naruto told him that there will be a day when they will understand each other. If it were you, would you be angry with them? Without the sacrifices of our small countries, sacrifice and turmoil, where can you big countries have peace? Your peace is violence against us. As long as people live, they will hurt others unconsciously. Hatred and humans coexist. In this cursed world, there is no real peace. Everything that Jiraiya said is unrealistic. After thoroughly speaking his thoughts, Nagato threw the last question to Naruto. You have heard my story. Tell me your answer. After a moment of silence, Naruto opened his clothes and took out Jiraiya's Tenchi Ninden. In a trance, he seemed to see Jiraiya again, and saw his high-spirited face when he said people can understand each other. I feel that Nagato's story only made him more resolute. I don't think Naruto can give any reliable answer to refute it. The contradiction cannot be reconciled at all. The vested interests cannot provide help at the cost of affecting their living conditions, and the weak have the ability to resist. In this case, it is impossible to stop the dispute between the two sides. Jiraiya's perseverance ninjutsu. Naruto will not continue to repeat Jiraiya's unrealistic dream, right? Enough of empty talk, let's be practical. Is this what happened to you after I left, Nagato? Jiraiya muttered, then shook his head with a wry smile. Encountered such a thing, let alone the young people who have just come of age? Even many adults in their 30s and 40s may not be able to overcome this hurdle. And the original concept that supported their actions was just Jiraiya's ideal without a specific answer. In this case, it is indeed a bit of a stretch to expect them to stick to their original intentions. It's hard to answer. So, what answer will you give, Naruto? Jiraiya adjusted his emotions and turned his eyes back to the sky. At the same time, his disciples also focused their attention on Naruto on the sky. Nagato and Konan in the Hidden Rain Village, Yohiko in the Pure Land, Minato in the body of the God of Death, and Naruto himself, all wanted to hear what the son of prophecy on the sky could say. Maybe it's true, and I think you're right. Naruto lowered his head, closed his eyes and replied with a painful face, I can understand your actions now. But even so, I really can't forgive you and can't help hating you. Really? Then let's make a break. Nagato was not surprised that Naruto gave such an answer, but he didn't expect him to say such a sentence next. But, the lecherous sage entrusted his dream to me because he believed in me, so I have no choice but to believe in everything the lecherous sage believes in. This is my answer. For this reason, I can't kill you. Well, is Naruto's answer different from what he said before? It feels like he just said it in a different way. No, he made a choice. It was the conflict between revenge and understanding that caused Naruto to have a mental breakdown and lose his power before, but now he chooses to believe in Jiraiya's ideals, so he gave up revenge and tried to understand Nagato and the others. So he really forced himself to understand and accept Nagato and the others, and suppressed his own emotions for this. This ideal is too heavy. Can Naruto guarantee that his companions will not be harmed in the future? If everyone handles it like Nagato, then what position does he have in Konoha? How will his companions see him? Chapter 458. I don't know whether this result is good or bad, but suppressing emotions is anti-human, and you will definitely not be able to bear it for a long time. Perhaps this is the price of becoming the child of prophecy. Naruto? Sakura covered her mouth reluctantly and cast her eyes on Naruto beside her. Sasuke, who was leaning against a car, also subconsciously looked at him, and then remembered Naruto who said he would bear his hatred and die with him. You want to swallow my hatred, other people's hatred, and even your own hatred by yourself, just for your so-called ninja way and peace. Is it really worth it, Naruto? Looking at his serious eyes without any evasion, Nagato said calmly, believe what Jiraiya once believed in. So that's it, is this your answer? So, you want us to believe and wait until you bring peace to this world? Nagato's tone gradually became heavier. Looking at Naruto's undoubted eyes, he felt extremely annoyed, and the emotions that had originally calmed down rose again with anger. Stop kidding. You still want me to believe Jiraiya's words at this point? Real peace doesn't exist. As long as we live in this cursed world, this kind of thing is a delusion. See, Nagato doesn't agree with this statement at all. After all, he has been emphasizing from the beginning that Naruto should give a specific approach, But now Naruto still gives this general answer. Naruto's answer only convinced himself. What is needed now is an answer that convinces Nagato. Nagato stared at the sky, his chest heaving violently, his mood extremely depressed, relying on strong willpower to hold back from bursting out. What else can you say? That kind of joke can't convince me. Peace can't exist in that kind of answer. After listening to Nagato's words with a sullen face, Naruto answered without hesitation, then, let me break this curse. As long as peace really exists, I will make it a reality. I will not give up. An ordinary sentence made Nagato, who was originally furious, stunned for a moment. He stared at Naruto with wide eyes. You, that is. Konan was a little confused about Nagato's emotional change, but Nagato ignored her and stared at Naruto. Those words. Yes, those words just now all came from this book, the first book written by the lustful immortal. He seems to really want to use this book to change the world. Nagato. What is Nagato's reaction? Is there any deep meaning in this line that makes it so touching? Isn't this Naruto's catchphrase all along, that he won't give up or something, but it just incorporates Jiraiya's understanding of peace? Rather than saying it's Naruto's answer, it's better to say it's Jiraiya's answer, but the problem is that he still hasn't given a specific solution. Jiraiya's eyes widened slightly. What I remember about that line is, in the belly of the god of death. Minato nodded with appreciation. This line is my favorite. In the Hidden Rain village, Nagato was also slightly stunned like himself on the sky. As the first reader of the Perseverance Ninja biography, he naturally knew what this line was about. It's just why, obviously that was the innocent past that he had long abandoned, but why, his mind still unconsciously remembered what happened at that time. Looking deeply at the book in his hand, Naruto continued, at the end of the book, he wrote that the inspiration for this book came from one of his disciples. Your name, Nagato. How could it be? Nagato wanted to stay calm, but in Naruto's words, he couldn't help but dig out the memories buried deep in his mind. It was still the place where the rain never stopped. In that small house, Nagato, who couldn't find the direction of life, came alone to Jiraiya who was eating ramen. Kneeling by the door, Nagato looked at the rain outside the house and said to Jiraiya behind him, Teacher once told me that in this world, hatred is everywhere. I thought about it carefully. Oh, is there any good answer? Jiraiya asked casually without thinking too much. What on earth is going on here? I don't quite understand. Well, I do understand, but this method of persuasion. Naruto is also gambling. This method of persuading has a success rate of only 50%. Although he won the bet in the end, it feels very shameless. What are you talking about? Can you explain it? You will know if you read on. Peace. I don't know the way to achieve it yet, but, after a pause, Nagato turned his head and looked at Jiraiya, and answered seriously, one day I will break this curse. As long as peace really exists, I will make it a reality. Compared to the method, I think the power of belief is more important. Is that so? This answer is good. It may really be like this. Jiraiya nodded with satisfaction. Suddenly, a light flashed in his mind, and he said excitedly, Thanks to you, I should be able to write a good book. Then, the next thing is to think about the name of the protagonist. Jiraiya folded his hands, looked at the Naruto scroll in the bowl, and immediately had an idea. Oh, it turns out that this answer was given by Nagato, and then used by Jiraiya and Naruto. And now Naruto uses this answer to convince Nagato, and after a roundabout way, the source is actually himself. It's like Jiraiya, Naruto and the past Nagato come together to convince the present Nagato, with triple power. No wonder Nagato would accept it, but, did Nagato think that the answer he got in the past was worthless? Why was he still touched here? So Naruto is also gambling, and whether it will succeed in the end depends on what Nagato thinks at the time. It turns out that this so-called power of belief was also proposed by Nagato, but he, the proposer, doesn't believe it anymore. Jiraiya really carried out his role as a guide to the end, passing on the inspiration he got from the child of prophecy to another child of prophecy, and now it has returned to the first child of prophecy. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 459. The Power of Belief, that unrealistic idea, that kind of trick for children. Nagato's face was gloomy. He tried his best to deny the determined self on the sky, but he couldn't stop his gradually accelerating heartbeat. Chakra began to escape from his body with a fluctuation of his spirit. The scene changed, and the three little ones who had parted with Jiraiya returned to the hut with Yohiko's low crying. As soon as he entered the door, Nagato saw the Book of Perseverance left on the table at a glance, and picked it up to read without thinking. The scene changed again, and Nagato was seen fighting with a strange ninja, who was bound by the cursed ninja world and could not get rid of hatred at all. Nagato easily knocked him down, and when the other party said in despair that nothing could be changed, he responded to him with the answer he said to Jiraiya. Finally, Nagato extended his hand to the other party. My name is Naruto. Under the influence of Nagato, Jiraiya wrote the first book, and then Nagato became the first reader. Now Naruto uses him as a prop to persuade Nagato. It feels like everything is connected. It really feels like fate. It feels like Jiraiya's disciples are all of the same lineage. How many times has this scene appeared? Is this the perspective of the child of prophecy? After all, the answer given here runs through the whole story. Not only the characters in the book, but also the real people are deeply affected by it. The memories end. Naruto reads out his own name heavily, and then he continued to raise his voice. My name is the most important relic left to me by the lecherous sage. I will never give up, because that would be an insult to my master. I will become Hokage. Then I can bring peace to Yugakure. Please believe me. Really? What makes you say you won't change? After a moment of silence, Nagato raised the last resistance in his heart and asked, no matter what kind of pain you face in the future, can you always believe that you will not change? Do you dare to make this assertion? Do you have this confidence? No one likes pain, and I am no exception. Naruto thought of Sasuke who left him, Sakura who was hurt by his runaway power, and Jiraiya who sacrificed himself to practice his ideals, although I understand what Naruto means. Becoming Hokage can bring peace to Yugakure is definitely problematic to those who don't understand it. It sounds like he wants to incorporate Yugakure into Konoha's territory. Nagato is still stubborn, but I can already feel that he is wavering. How, before, you were denying the existence of peace of mutual understanding between people, but now it becomes whether Naruto will give up. He doesn't need to answer this question, I can give you the answer. I was worried that Naruto didn't understand the situation represented by the question raised by Nagato, but from the fact that he remembered these three people, Sasuke represented the companions who hurt him, Sakura represented the companions who were hurt by him, and Jiraiya represented the companions who were hurt by others. He knows the situation he will face in the future. The decision made in this situation is convincing. I represent the companions who hurt him. Sasuke narrowed his eyes slightly, looked at the analysis of the barrage, and snorted imperceptibly. If it weren't for Naruto's constant pestering, who would have the leisure to hurt him? He said it as if he really wanted to be related to him. Although his expression was extremely lonely, Naruto still clearly stated his opinion, but if the protagonist changes because of this, the story will also change accordingly. In that case, it will not be the book left by the master, and it will no longer be Naruto. I can't write books like my master, so I can only write a new chapter with my future life. No matter what kind of pain I encounter, I will keep going. This is me, Naruto. Looking at Naruto with his thumbs up against his heart, Nagato couldn't help but think of the past, the cheerful smile Jiraiya showed when he told him the prophecy of the reformer of the ninja world, the dream of the savior entrusted to him when Yohiko sacrificed, the self who believed in the power of belief, the answer Naruto gave just now, the carefree life of the four people in that hut, and the happy family when his parents were still alive. I don't want to disappoint my master's expectations, so I want to implement the ideas of the protagonist in the book he wrote. I can understand this behavior, but don't you think it's sad? What about Naruto's own ideas? What's so sad? Since Naruto decided to do this, it means that he recognized this idea. Isn't this his own decision's choice? Besides, before that, didn't he keep saying that he would not give up? Jiraiya also valued this point in him and entrusted everything to him. This is a two-way choice, the most perfect master-disciple relationship. Knowing that it is a difficult road, he still walked up without hesitation. With his courage, he is already a mature adult. This is the growth of the state of mind that is more important than strength. The memories of the past are constantly attacking Nagato. It is hard not to be convinced. Compared to Jiraiya and Naruto, it is still the past Nagato who has the greatest influence on him now. After all, it is himself, even if he has been abandoned by the current him. Thinking of this, Nagato slowly lowered his head and said in a deep voice, "We are brothers, both worshipping under the door of the person we admire. It stands to reason that we should be able to understand each other. I have said this before, although it was just a mockery. You are an incredible guy, reminding me of my past self." Ignoring Konan's worried look, Nagato said to himself, "I can't believe Jiraiya. No, I can't even believe myself. But now, I feel that you will take a different path to the future than mine." Saying this, Nagato pulled his hands out of the mechanical device under him and slowly made a seal. "Let me try to believe you, Uzumaki Naruto. Outer path, reincarnation natural technique." Although I knew the result before, I really didn't expect to be convinced by this answer. Never give up the pursuit of peace. Although someone has given this answer, few people took it seriously at the time, and the result. Haha. Chapter 460. I don't understand. I really don't understand. Where is the resolute and uncompromising Nagato? Why can this answer convince him? It may not work if someone else comes, but the book started with Nagato's dream after all. It doesn't seem unreasonable that it can produce special effects. I tried to substitute myself. Maybe Nagato thought that since he could not believe in me once, he might give up his current idea the second time. Compared with Naruto, who has been moving in the same direction from beginning to end, I am really not as good as him in this regard, so I admitted my failure and entrusted peace to Naruto. Even if Naruto himself has no way to achieve peace, well, after all, we are not the parties involved. Who knows what Nagato was thinking at that time? Even the current Nagato may not understand the self on the sky, however, the reality is just the opposite. Nagato can really understand what he is thinking on the sky, but the more so, the more angry he is with himself. Peace is really hard. Nagato grabbed his head with a painful look on his face. He didn't want to admit that Naruto could suppress his hatred and continue on that path of peace after experiencing the death of an important person. Is this the price of achieving peace? Why did Naruto have the courage to take such a painful path? Naruto pursed his lips. Although he couldn't fully understand what it meant to take that path, after seeing himself on the sky saying those words with a firmness, his heart was slightly warmed, and unprecedented courage surged in his heart. Reincarnation technique, why does it sound familiar? Isn't this the one that Uchiha Madara mentioned when he was reincarnated? At that time, he analyzed that this was a resurrection ninjutsu, and Uchiha Madara also mentioned Nagato's name at that time. So Nagato is going to revive the ninjas of Konoha. Oh. That's how Kakashi and Shizune came back to life? I thought it was Konoha who did it, but it turned out to be Nagato. In other words, if Naruto hadn't done the last thing. After this, Kakashi and the others really died. What is the relationship between Nagato and Uchiha Madara? One is a ninja Shura in the Warring States period, and the other is an ordinary civilian in the Hidden Rain village. Why does Uchiha Madara think that he will be resurrected by Nagato? Is there any other secret in this? Who knows? Anyway, from the story of Nagato that has been shown so far, there is no Uchiha Madara figure, so it must be Uchiha Madara's side that has set up some plan. A Fei who pretended to be Uchiha Madara, is that so? Maybe he is Uchiha Madara's pawn. His purpose of approaching Nagato is to use him to revive the real Uchiha Madara. In the Pure Land, Uchiha Madara raised his eyebrows. It was guessed by mistake, but there was such a big loophole in the plan. In the final analysis, the problem lies with Uzumaki Naruto, the child of prophecy. If you want to stop the resurrection of Uchiha Madara with this ability, you are still far from it. On the other side, Obito, who was also looking at the sky, looked a little impatient. It's really weird. I spent so much time trying to influence Nagato, but he was turned against me by just a few words from Uzumaki Naruto. Nagato is easy to deceive, but he is not so naive. Naruto was puzzled by Nagato's behavior, but Konan, who had been with Nagato, understood his plan in an instant and her face changed drastically. Nagato, you. Konan, that's enough. I have a new choice now, a choice that I once gave up. Nagato responded in a calm tone but with a firm attitude. In Naruto's puzzled question, Konan explained with a complicated expression, people with the Rinnegan can not only use the 6 pains techniques, but it is said that they can also escape the realm of reincarnation. Nagato's eye power is the technique of controlling life and death, and he is the 7th pain. If he uses this technique with his current chakra, Nagato will. Konan looked at Nagato, whose body was shaking violently. with a look of pity, and then cast her eyes on Naruto. For this child, he actually went to this step. He changed Nagato. What an incredible person. Sure enough, he can use all the abilities of pains, and there are others. Gaiden. The seventh pain, the technique of controlling life and death. I feel that my heart is getting bigger and bigger, and I don't feel shocked at all. Ever since Tendao razed Konoha to the ground with Shinra Tensei, and then trapped the Nine Tails with Chibaku Tensei, it feels that no matter what ability Nagato uses, I can accept it at the first time, as long as the reason of the samsara I can explain everything. From what Zyanin said, it seems that as long as Nagato has enough chakra, he can perform the samsara natural technique without sequelae. He has the samsara eye. He has the samsara eye. How about it? It's not strange now. After all, two resurrection techniques have been demonstrated before. If the resurrection technique of the samsara eye has the same price as them, then why is it called the realm beyond life and death? Nagato. For that child, he is willing to sacrifice his life? Is it worth it? Standing on the top of a high tower, Konan let the rain fall on her face and murmured sadly. Although she was reluctant, Konan would not deny Nagato's approach. If Nagato decided to do so, Konan would only bury her sadness in her heart and silently support him. Accompanying Nagato's actions, the huge body of the King of Hell rose from the ground in the center of Konoha's battlefield, and then opened his big mouth exaggeratedly, spitting out a large amount of green light that enveloped the entire Konoha. The scene changed. In Maiboku Mountain, the seriously injured Bunta was wrapped in bandages all over his body, sitting on the ground in front of a waterfall, smoking and drinking. At this time, the Great Toad Sage was sitting opposite it, looking at the picture emerging in the crystal ball in front of him, and said in a hoarse voice, "It seems to be over." "What is the result?" Bunta asked hurriedly, and the Great Toad Sage described with emotion, "Just as the prophecy. I didn't expect that Jiraiya's two disciples were both children of prophecy and became the ones who guided the transformation and development of the ninja world. At that time, at the moment when Jiraiya chose not to give up, perhaps all this was destined, and that book really became the key to changing the world." Chapter 461. This weird thing was used to repair pain before, but I didn't expect it could be used to revive others. What are these green lights? Souls? Did Nagato summon souls back with this trick? Although Nagato has admitted it himself, it still feels incredible to see it with my own eyes. How many people died in Konoha during this invasion? Can all of them be resurrected? The Samsara Eye. The Samsara Eye. This eye technique that transcends common sense is worthy of the eyes possessed by the legendary Sixth Path Sage. The Great Toad Sage is also secretly paying attention to the situation. Everything is as he predicted. A book and two children of prophecy. This sentence can describe Jiraiya's life. A book and two children of prophecy. What a good summary. Jiraiya smiled with relief and said to himself with emotion. He thought that the climax of his life was the last bit of effort he made for the children of prophecy before his death, but now it seems that it might be here. Starting with the prophecy of the Great Toad Sage, and then defining and summarizing the prophecy by the Great Toad Sage, the significance of Jiraiya's existence is fully explained. In the dark space leading to the Pure Land, Hatake Tsukumo sat in front of the campfire with Kakashi, lamenting the fate of the father and son who died young. Hatake Tsukumo's words evoked Kakashi's past memories, but at this time he no longer had any complaints. No matter what the result is, father, you have tried your best. Now I can finally understand you, a father who broke the rules for his partners. You are my pride. Seemingly a little surprised, Hatake Tsukumo slightly widened his eyes, and then his whole body relaxed, as if he had unloaded some invisible burden, and replied softly, "Thank you. Why is Kakashi still here? Is this the Pure Land?" It's highly unlikely. From the state of those who were resurrected before, we can see that they were unconscious after death, so they couldn't figure out the situation after resurrection. But here, White Fang and Kakashi are obviously still conscious. You can only ask the person involved about this kind of question. Of course, Kakashi needs to die once. Smirk. Why do I feel like the father and son seem to have some regrets? What does Kakashi mean by this? Who knows what they went through? By the way, does anyone know how White Fang died? This who is the master who killed the country in terror during World War II? There is no information at all. This matter is some kind of confidential information in Konoha. Only a few high-ranking people know the specific situation. However, there was a rumor at the time that Danzo was behind it. I didn't find it strange at all when I heard Danzo's name. Suddenly, a green light fell from the sky into Kakashi's body. Kakashi, who didn't know what was going on, stood up subconsciously and felt a breath of life coming from him. Hatake Tsukumo chuckled. Said, "It seems that you are here a little too early, you should have a mission to complete." "Father." Kakashi looked at him with a glowing body. Hatake Tsukumo said softly, "It's great to be able to talk to you, thank you for forgiving me, so that I can leave in peace and finally go to see your mother." In the present world, Kakashi suddenly opened his eyes, and at the same time, a large amount of green light fell into the bodies that had lost their breath, and Fukasaku Sennin, Shizune, and other people who died in this invasion woke up one after another. Back in Konoha, Yamanaka Inochi looked incredulous when he saw what was happening. Nara Shikaku, who was standing next to him, immediately thought of Naruto's actions. It seems that Naruto has solved the problem. Resurrecting like this. It feels so casual. Just now I was thinking that if the body was too seriously injured, it would be useless even if the soul was summoned back. Now it seems that the green light covering Konoha also has the function of repairing the body. Otherwise, it would be impossible for Fukasaku to get up directly at this time. Kakashi is damned. He came back after resolving some kind of knot in White Fang's heart. I don't know if it is a good thing or a bad thing. If it weren't for Naruto's last effort, it would naturally be a bad thing. If it were someone else, they wouldn't have the ability to let the original enemy revive the killed companion at the cost of his life. Touching his forehead protector, Kakashi exhaled deeply. He didn't expect that his father had been waiting for him with such guilt, just to get his son's forgiveness. I may have always blamed you before I became a Jonin, but under Obito's guidance, I have already let it go. Now I am only proud of you, father. Looking at Nagato, whose hair turned pale in an instant and hung his head in pain, Naruto asked nervously, "What's going on? What happened?" The slug reported to Naruto what happened in Konoha. Nagato's mind appeared the figure of Jiraiya, who chose to stay and take care of them in World War II as compensation, and he explained, "The people I killed after coming to Konoha should be fine, just regarded as compensation." After completing the performance of the technique, Nagato hunched over and gasped, and then said, "War brings death and pain to both sides, and no one can accept the important, so, if Nagato's samsara had been developed deeply enough at that time, he could have resurrected Yohiko after his death. Almost is almost. Everything in the world cannot be as expected. Is that really the case? Then why did Uchiha Madara expect Nagato to use the samsara rebirth technique to resurrect him? Yohiko still has a body left, while Uchiha Madara should have become a skeleton long ago? Seeing someone mention this, Nagato's eyes showed regret and unwillingness. When he mastered the samsara rebirth technique, Nagato also thought about resurrecting Yohiko, but perhaps because of the long time, Yohiko's body had completely lost its vitality. According to Nagato's estimation, even in his prime, it would be impossible to bring Yohiko back to life at the cost of draining his own chakra, so Nagato gave up the idea of resurrecting Yohiko and turned to fight for his dream with all his strength. This setting is only valid in this book, chapter 462. Especially for you, the generation that has not experienced war, it is even more difficult to accept, even if you find the meaning of death. All that is left is pain, and unresolved hatred, dying like an ant, hatred that lasts forever, pain that is difficult to heal. This is war. Naruto, this is what you will have to face in the future. Whether it is the book or you, it all feels like someone has arranged it for me. No, should I say, this is the real arrangement of God, the hiding place disguised as a big tree turned into flying papers and scattered. Looking at Naruto illuminated by the light, Nagato sent out his last Zyufu. "That's all I can do. Naruto. If it were you, maybe I could." It's true as Nagato said. Except for a few rare cases, most people who have experienced war are more likely to accept the death of their companions. If they were like Naruto and Shikamaru, who were easily depressed and decadent, they would have died countless times on the battlefield. But the current situation is that Nagato, who has experienced war and thinks he has seen through the world, has been convinced by Naruto, who talks about naive dreams. Because Nagato is also a naive person. Perhaps this is the most prominent feature of Jiraiya's disciples. We are not the parties involved. It's normal that we can't empathize. Anyway, in this battle, Naruto victory. After calming down the sadness caused by the failure to revive Yohiko, Nagato looked at Naruto bathed in the light in the sky, and murmured with a complicated expression, "Yes, he won," and I was convinced by him and turned back to the self who spoke of innocent ideals. At this time, pieces of paper floated in from outside the tower and gathered together. Konan walked out of the gathered papers, looked at Nagato and asked softly, "Nagato, what should we do next?" Maybe, peace will really be born in the hands of Uzumaki Naruto, but... After a pause, Nagato regained his firm eyes. This is not a reason for us to entrust everything to him. There are still many things that have not happened yet, and we still have the opportunity to make a new plan for peace. Even if we fail in the end, it can also eliminate some wrong practices for him. The dream that Yahiko pursues will definitely come true in this world. Then, how to deal with the Fei? Should we continue our cooperation with him? Konan asked with a serious expression. Nagato pondered for a moment and replied, "Keep it as it is for the time being. No matter what of Fei's real purposes, he will definitely not be able to get around my samsara eye. The initiative is in our hands, but just in case, we also need to make a second-hand preparation." After closing his eyes and thinking for a while, Nagato looked at Konan. "Konan, ask someone to send a letter to Konoha and give it to Jiraiya teacher, saying that I want to talk to him, and be careful of Zetsu's and eyes." Jiraiya teacher. Konan's expression was a little complicated, but he still nodded and agreed to the task. "I know. In addition, please ask someone to find a book of perseverance and pass it to me." Huh? Naruto took a deep breath. He didn't know how he felt at the moment, but it seemed that his hatred for Nagato had basically dissipated. Is it because his companions were resurrected by Nagato? But it couldn't change the fact that Jiraiya in the sky had already died. The only thing Naruto could be sure of at this time was that he was really handsome in the sky. "It seems that I am still far from being recognized by the lecherous immortal." Konan controlled the paper to wrap Nagato's body, and then used the same operation to process Tendo's body. At this time, Naruto, who was with her, asked, "Are you going to take him back too?" "Well, this Tendo pain was made of Yahiko's body, and he is a very important person to us." "Yahiko, is that him?" Looking at the two bodies floating out of thin air under Konan's control, Naruto asked with concern, "What are your plans for the future?" "I don't think you will return to Akatsuki again." "I will leave Akatsuki. Yahiko and Nagato are everything to me." Without hesitation, Konan gave the answer in a calm voice, and then continued, "Yahiko's dream, and Nagato's dream, they entrusted their dreams to you, and you are their hope. Since Nagato chose to believe in you, I will believe in you too, and we, Yugakure, will also pursue their dreams with you." Nagato died, Konan left, so Fei became the leader of Akatsuki. Is that what you mean? Regarding the Akatsuki issue, the main thing is that Itachi's statement is a little different from the current situation. According to Itachi, Akatsuki is an organization established by Uchiha Madara to hide himself, but from Nagato's narration, it can be clearly seen that the organization founded by Yahiko is the predecessor of Akatsuki, so there may be other hidden secrets that we don't know. By the way, Naruto achieves peace in the ninja world. It won't be by becoming friends with the leaders of various countries, and finally becoming the leader of the ninja world in disguise. After what you said, it seems to be true. The land of demons, the village of sand, the land of snow, and now there is another village of rain. What is the intention is simply obvious. Not only that, there is another continent overseas, and there is a descendant of an empire supporting him. In the past, there was also a country called Laulan. If you stretch it a little, you can even count the hidden grass village. It seems that Naruto's ambition is quite big. Do you also want to subvert the ninja world and unify the world? Naruto's face turned green instantly. He had obviously gained recognition from others through his efforts, but how come these people said that he wanted to conquer the world? He didn't have the leisure to think about it. These words evoked Naruto's memories. He remembered Jiraiya and Nagato who entrusted him with the answer to finding peace. He immediately looked at Konan with a firm look and said firmly, "The name Naruto, the perseverance of never giving up, and the pain are inherited from the master and senior brother." The words were not finished, but the meaning was conveyed. Konan stared at him for a moment, then condensed a bunch of paper flowers and handed them to Naruto. "This time, please make sure to bloom the flower of hope that never fades." Chapter 463. In the forest, in front of a stone with the word master engraved on it, Naruto left the paper flowers of Giant Ninden and Konan here, and turned away in the flying leaves. Look at me carefully, you lecherous immortal. Why do I feel that? Naruto has forgiven Nagato. Calling him senior brother is so easy to say. This guy just decided to carry out Jiraiya's dream. Has he adjusted his mentality now? From this point of view, there is really no one more suitable to be Jiraiya's successor than him. I always feel that he has embarked on a road of no return. It is because Naruto holds this mentality that he will speak for him even when he knows that he is framed by Wu Wei. The problem is that not every time he will be so lucky that there is someone who knows the resurrection technique standing on Naruto's side. If he is not careful, he will really die. Did Nagato remind him of this? Naruto himself should also understand it. Since he still chooses to do this, it means that he is mentally prepared to face this situation, and we, who are irrelevant, don't need to say too much. You have richer emotions than anyone else, but you put down your hatred for me for the dream of peace. Uzumaki Naruto, you are really not simple. Nagato lowered his eyes and murmured in a low voice. Until this moment, Nagato completely admitted that his pursuit of peace was far less firm than Naruto's. Obviously, the initial dreams of both of them had nothing to do with peace, and they were obviously the same dreams inherited from Jiraiya, but compared to Naruto who chose to stick to it, Nagato gave up the initial path and went in a completely opposite direction. Fortunately, at the moment of death, he finally went back to the initial path, but he could only entrust this dream to Naruto and could not realize it himself. Jiraiya smiled from the bottom of his heart. Although he regretted Nagato's sacrifice, he was happy to see that he could turn back and see that his ideals had successors. Sitting behind him, Naruto looked at the smile on Jiraiya's face, lowered his head and made up his mind secretly. Wait, lecherous sage. I will definitely find a way to achieve peace, and I will never let you die, and I will definitely let you see the day when I become Hokage. Naruto panted lightly, holding onto the tree trunk and walking slowly in the forest. However, his body, which had reached its limit, could not support him to walk out of the forest and return to Konoha. Naruto suddenly lost his strength and leaned forward. He was about to fall to the ground. At this time, a strong back appeared in front of him and gently lifted him up. Well done, Kakashi praised gently, leaning on his shoulder. Naruto showed a relaxed smile on his face, and weakly called his name, Teacher Kakashi. Just stay on my back. Kakashi said so, and Naruto did not act pretentiously, and smiled lightly and put his arms on his shoulders. Walking in the forest, feeling the weight coming from behind, Kakashi sighed. You've become heavier. Kakashi is still reliable. He came to support Naruto as soon as he was resurrected. It's a pity that Jiraiya couldn't be resurrected, but Naruto must be comforted to see Kakashi. This kind of teacher-student relationship is great. I haven't seen Naruto look so relaxed for a long time. Watching Kakashi carrying Naruto, I remembered that he was only a 16-year-old child, but he has become an important figure. Just like Kakashi said, he has become heavier. I always feel a little bit wrong to experience the growth of my students in advance. Kakashi shook his head helplessly. I haven't seen Naruto's performance yet, but I've used up my feelings in advance. It's really, Naruto didn't respond, but he kept a faint smile on his face until he heard cheers from the front. Then Naruto restrained his expression. After Kakashi carried him out of the forest, what caught Naruto's eyes was a crowd that seemed to have no end. Everyone was shouting his name with smiles on their faces, and words like hero and thank you were heard everywhere. Everyone is waiting for you to come back. Kakashi explained, and then he remembered the dream that Naruto had described with high spirits on the day of the class division. Although he hadn't become Hokage at this time, he had already been recognized by the whole village in advance. Naruto, you've worked really hard. In a sense, Naruto has realized his dream. After all, becoming Hokage is just a process of achieving a goal, but now it has been realized in other ways. Seamless connection. This is just realized a dream. Next now you have to fight for a bigger dream, and the pain you need to endure for this dream is far greater than the previous dream. The one who realized the dream was Naruto on the Sky Dome. Compared with the current Naruto, well, it can't be said that it has nothing to do with it. At least after this, the villagers of Konoha will no longer hate him. In fact, since Naruto has appeared frequently on the Sky Dome, there are basically no people in Konoha who reject him recently. However, to say that they cheer for him from the bottom of their hearts like on the Sky Dome, it may still be a little short of the heat. It's no wonder. After all, we haven't experienced it personally. If we only look at the Sky Dome, it's really unrealistic to want to put our whole heart into that feeling. Although we can't reach the sky in one step, compared with Naruto on the Sky Dome, at least Naruto's current situation is much better, so keep working hard, Naruto, and let everyone truly recognize you on this basis. Although the slug said that he had told the whole thing to the people in the village, Naruto still had a dull expression and didn't react. It was not until the crowd who couldn't control their emotions surrounded him and touched his wound that Naruto came back to his senses under the stimulation of pain. In the crowd, Hinata wiped her tears and was happy for Naruto from the bottom of her heart. At this time, Sakura also came over, and without saying a word, she punched Naruto's head. "You just mess around, you idiot." Naruto, who had almost exhausted his strength, fell forward without resistance, but was immediately supported and hugged by Sakura. Hugging him, Sakura leaned on his shoulder with a distressed face and said softly, "Thank you." Naruto hasn't reacted yet. Is it so unbelievable that a dream has come true? Is it strange to feel unbelievable in the scene? How many of you have seen such a scene, regardless of gender, age or young, supporting and recognizing a certain person, not to mention that this person is a Jinchuuriki? Chapter 464. That was the case with Gar before, with a bunch of sand ninjas surrounding him. At that time, Garo is already the Kazekage, so it's a little different from here. Tisk, Sakura, this guy, can only express his feelings with his fists? That's too insincere. I think it's pretty good. This kind of natural action can better show the deep friendship between the two people, right? Being loved like this, even if Sakura doesn't have that kind of intention towards Naruto. I think this scene is great. Friendship. What a wonderful scene. Sakura pursed her lips and glanced at Naruto beside her. If someone told Sakura that Naruto would become her good friend in the future before graduation, she probably wouldn't believe it even if she was beaten to death. However, this scene is now truly unfolding in front of Sakura's eyes, and the last one at that time has also become a hero who saves Konoha on the sky screen. Those familiar companions did not hide their trust in Naruto. Iruka, who was also in the crowd, looked at this scene with a look of satisfaction. He remembered Naruto's efforts all along, and the changes in the villagers' views of him after each of his activeness. He also remembered what the third Hokage had said to him in order to make him Naruto's teacher. The fourth Hokage died sealing the Nine Tails with the hope that everyone would regard Naruto as a hero. Third Hokage. Fourth Hokage. Tears could not stop flowing, and Iruka looked at Naruto, who was thrown high by the cheering crowd, and a very bright smile appeared on his face. Now, the hero is right in front of me. Hero. This word is not a good word in the ninja world. Not to mention how many hardships and obstacles you have to go through. Even if you get this identity, what can you do? Apart from getting recognition from others, it will only make you more vulnerable to various dangers. It is an identity that has no benefits but only harms. Maybe you are right, but it does not prevent everyone from admiring heroes and worshipping heroes, nor can it stop those great people from becoming heroes. Even the dream of peace in the ninja world dares to shoulder, let alone the title of a hero. I can't do this, but look it, I will not have any negative emotions other than appreciation for Naruto's efforts. It is because there are too many people with dark thoughts that peace is so illusory. Ignore the words of those rats in the gutter. You just need to be yourself, Naruto. In the belly of the god of death, Minato felt distressed and relieved, and chuckled to himself. I know you can do it, Naruto. I am waiting for this scene to happen even in my dreams. In Konoha, in the ninja school, Iruka wiped his tears, and he had never been so happy as at this moment. Hero. Naruto's lips trembled slightly, and he pronounced the word imperceptibly. Even if it was a dream, Naruto had never imagined that this scene on the sky would happen to him, so that his brain was overloaded at this time, and his thoughts became a little trance. Before he came back to his senses, the sky was dark and bright, and a new picture appeared. In the forest, Naruto rushed straight at the oncoming Afehi without any intention of avoiding him, and their swords collided fiercely. The two were thrown away at the same time by the reaction force, and Killer Bee, who was a step slower, caught Naruto, who was flying back. Calm down, Naruto, you idiot. Bastard. Damn, it's so hard. There's not even a crack. Naruto said with a wry smile as he looked at the intact new mask on Afehi's face. Afehi landed steadily on the tree opposite. In the hollow of the new mask, a Samsara eye and a Sharingan looked at Naruto coldly. I wanted you to pass through directly, but you can't even do anything with my mask. After mastering the power of the Nine Tails, you shouldn't be able to do this much. It's the content of the fourth war. Naruto is against Ifei. It seems that this should be the main battlefield. Ifei is complaining about me. What kind of mask is on his face? How can Naruto not break it in this golden form? No, no, no. Such trivial details are irrelevant. Look at Ifei's left eye. It's the Samsara eye. No wonder Ifei has the confidence to say that he is the leader of Akatsuki. It turns out that he also has the Samsara eye. It turns out that only one eye was exposed before to hide the Samsara eye in the left eye. No way. We just solved Nagato who has the Samsara eye, and then are we going to face off with a Rinnegan again? This is the legendary eye. Why do they suddenly appear in large numbers? Will they say that there are other people with the Rinnegan later? As he spoke, a brand new six-pathed pain made of the bodies of 6 Jinchuriki descended from the sky and attacked Naruto and Killer Bee without saying a word. Lava style, burning river rock technique. The chest of the four-tails-old purple swelled, and a large number of magma balls spewed out of his mouth. After Naruto and Killer Bee dodged nimbly, he stomped heavily on the tree trunk with his feet, and directly closed the distance with the enemy and launched a counterattack. Water style, water mirror technique. Three-tailed Yagura raised his hand and condensed a water mirror that reflected the figures of the two people. Then he stretched out a long stick with a hook to hook the mirror and knocked it on the tree trunk. The next second, two identical figures jumped out of the mirror and blocked Naruto and Killer Bee. The Rasengan and short sword attacks of both sides collided and cancelled out. Naruto and Killer Bee were also directly repelled by this powerful blow. This. Who are these 6 people? Isn't that the 4th generation Mizukage, the 3-tailed Jinchuriki, Lord Yagura? The other one wearing a loose robe is also the 6-tailed Jinchuriki of our village, Yugeo? Those two are the old Z and Han of Iwagakure, right? There are also the 2 Yukatas of Kumagakure. Does anyone know that little girl? It's the 7-tailed Jinchuriki Fu of Takigakure, so, all of them are Jinchuriki. Judging from the cracks on their faces, they are all reborn from the impure world reincarnation. Not only that, look at their eyes, they all have one Sharingan and one Samsara eye like a Fae, which means these 6 people are still 6-pathed pain. Oh my god, impure world reincarnation plus 6-pathed pain, any one of them is difficult to deal with, and now they are combined together. Chapter 465. There are 8 Jinchuriki. This is the first time that so many Jinchuriki appear in the same battle. If Gaara is included, it will be complete. Looking at the Jinchuriki who were transformed into the 6 paths of pain, Terumi Mei's face was gloomy, the 4th Mizukage and the 6-tailed Yugeo. Kirigakure is really embarrassed. Especially since Yugeo was captured by Akatsuki not long ago, this scene is like another pinch of salt on Terumi Mei's wound. The Raikage in Kumagakure was also in a bad mood at this time. He smashed the desk in front of him heavily. When he thought that Killer Bee almost became like this ghost on the sky, he wanted to immediately use all the strength of the village to flatten the Rangakure. However, regardless of whether he has the ability to do it, once the Raikage really does so, it is just to detect minds for other villages. As the person who is most reluctant to cooperate with other ninja villages among the 5 major ninja villages, the Raikage will naturally not do such things that harm himself and benefit others, so now he can only be helpless and furious. In comparison, Inoki was a little calmer. Although his face was not very good, fortunately, Iwagakure had blocked Akatsuki's attack and saved the 2 Jinchuriki in the village. At least in this respect, it was much stronger than the other 2 ninja villages. Before the 2 people who were repelled had time to stand firm, they saw a lot of bubbles appearing around their bodies. Naruto accidentally broke some bubbles and was immediately burned by the acid that exploded, and his movements became deformed. Water escape, foam technique. 6-tailed Yugeo blew out more bubbles, and then detonated them at the same time to cover the surrounding space. Fortunately, Killer Bee's decades of combat experience were not for show. He relied on the octopus legs of the 8-tail to hook the tree trunk and escape from the attack range, and also rescue Naruto. But before they could catch their breath, a lot of flashing debris appeared in front of the 2 people. The 7-tailed Fu spit out the scales to cover the 2 people's vision, and then let the 2-tailed Jumu Ren and the 5-tailed Han take the opportunity to attack. As a result, this hidden attack was firmly resisted by Naruto and Killer Bee, relying on Killer Bee's sunglasses and Naruto's malicious perception. Tisk. Luckily this side is the strongest 8 tails and 9 tails, otherwise the 6 Jinchuriki's methods would be used one after another, and if they don't die, they will be seriously injured. That's not right. Although they were Jinchuriki before, they are just reincarnated from the impure world reincarnation, and they should not have the power of the tailed beasts. Even if they lose their status as Jinchuriki, the immortal body of the impure world reincarnation plus the ability of the six paths pain are difficult enough to deal with, not to mention that they are all famous ninjas in the ninja world and can perform their own proud ninjutsu. By the way, Naruto has more and more abilities. What does malicious perception mean? He's learning the sage. Didn't he already show his perception ability after the mode? What's the big deal? From his description, there is an obvious difference. The perception ability perceives chakra, and he clearly said here that he perceives the other party's malice. Perhaps it was influenced by the Nine Tails. Hasn't it always been said that the Nine Tails is the embodiment of disaster and the collection of hatred? Maybe it is because of this that Naruto can perceive the malice of others. After a round of attacks, the two sides pulled away and entered a confrontation. The Eight Tails expressed sympathy for the tragic experience of the two Yukitas and asked Killer Bee to cheer up so as not turned up like her. Naruto was also observing the changes in Faye. From the change of the mask and the state of the six Jinchuriki's eyes, he instantly thought of Nagato's appearance when he controlled the six paths of pain, so he said coldly, "The left eye that has been hidden all the time is the same as Nagato and Madara over there, both are Samsara eyes." Ignoring Faye's slightly changed eyes, Naruto said firmly, "I will stop both of you Madaras." "You said too." Faye remembered the impure world reincarnation of Uchiha Madara that Kabuto showed him before the battle, and he didn't understand what was going on. Kabuto, that bastard. Eh? From Naruto's tone, it seems that he has come into contact with a real Uchiha Madara who was resurrected by the impure world reincarnation. Naruto's real body is here, so who is dealing with Uchiha Madara? No. You are focusing on the wrong thing. The question now is not who is fighting the real Uchiha Madara, but when Naruto talked about the Samsara Eye, he also mentioned Uchiha Madara's name. No way, another person with the Samsara Eye? Someone just made a hypothesis before, and it happened right away. Well, Uchiha is the six paths. It is reasonable for the descendants of the sage to have the Samsara Eye, but it still feels a bit exaggerated. The main reason is that apart from the six paths sage, no one has ever heard of the Samsara Eye in the past. As a result, it has appeared one after another and even became a party to the war. Forget it, although the Samsara Eye is difficult to deal with, we have gathered the power of the 5 major ninja villages on our side, and the situation is not yet irreversible. Don't forget Itachi, who is fighting with Kabuto. With the cooperation of him and Sasuke, the impure world reincarnation has been lifted, which means that the 6 Jinchuriki here, including Uchiha Madara, will be sent back to the Pure Land. In the end, the only one left to deal with is Ifei. Not only Ifei, there are also 7-tailed beasts. This is the main combat power of the enemy. It's okay, we have the strongest 8 tails and 9 tails on our side, and we will definitely be able to defeat the opponent. Kirabi didn't understand what he meant. He had been following Naruto's main body and didn't know what was happening on the battlefield. After a moment of silence, Ifei sneered and said, "Why not call me by my old name Ifei? The war has already started, and the name doesn't matter at all. Madara, Ifei, whatever you want to call me is fine." "Who are you?" Naruto asked coldly. Ifei tilted his head and answered with no sadness or joy in his eyes, "I am nobody, and I don't want to be anyone. As long as I can realize the Moon Eye plan, it's enough. This world with only despair has no value in existence." "Oh," Ifei finally told his purpose, "but what does Moon Eye mean?" "Well, judging from his last sentence, it sounds like he wants to destroy the world. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 466. It's been a long time since I heard someone wanted to destroy the world. I suddenly miss it a little bit. Hey, don't take it lightly. Ifei, who controls the 7-tailed beasts, is different from those guys who can't see the situation clearly and just say they want to conquer and destroy the world. If he doesn't handle it well, he really has the ability to destroy the world. Apart from anything else, he just needs to control the tailed beasts to launch the tailed beast balls indiscriminately. He has such a big opinion on this world, and as an Uchiha, he hates Uchiha. I am really more and more curious about Ifei's true identity. It's really annoying. Isn't he like Nagato, who suffered a major setback and then thought about revenge on the ninja world? Well, you people, if you are depressed, just deal with the person who made you depressed. Why do you vent your depression to the world? We who don't understand anything are really wronged. You Jinchuriki, forced to seal the tailed beast in your body, tasted the taste of despair, am I right? Compared with others, you should feel it more deeply. Afei cited the example of Jinchuriki, but Naruto retorted without thinking, stop talking to yourself, who said that having a tailed beast in your body is equal to misfortune? The deafening words made the Nine Tails, which was originally sleeping in Naruto's body, suddenly open its eyes, releasing the malice in its eyes without concealing it. Naruto naturally didn't know this, pointing at Afei and cursing, even if this world is worthless to you, you shouldn't wantonly start a war, and then say that you are nobody. Do you think you don't have to take responsibility for this? No matter how many masks you change, no matter how many different identities you change, you are you bastard. With Naruto's answer, the next person to be influenced by him won't be the nine-tailed fox in his body. He is no longer satisfied with the ninjas from other villages, and now he doesn't even let go of the existence other than humans. Judging from Naruto's speech and the nine-tailed fox's reaction, it is likely to develop in this direction. If it is true, it is not implementation, but surpassing Jiraiya's dream. Even the tailed beasts want to make friends. In this case, it is simply unreasonable not to achieve peace. Inside Naruto, the nine-tailed fox opened its eyes slightly, looking at the speech on the sky through Naruto's eyes, and remained silent. It's really infuriating. I must tear off your mask. Naruto rubbed his hands and looked ready to fight at any time, and Killer Bee was also eager to try and screamed. Watching the two people's actions, Afei adjusted his mask and said coldly, you want to tear off my mask, you'd better pray for your own good. Under Afei's control, the six Jinchuriki simultaneously transformed into half-tailed beasts, and a tail of a tailed beast condensed behind each of them. 8-tail, 9-tail. I will catch you and get the eye of the moon. The 8-tail in Killer Bee's body saw at a glance that the tailed beasts were once again sealed in the bodies of these reincarnated Jinchuriki, and it also felt a sense of disharmony. After telling Killer Bee all its thoughts, Killer Bee, who understood, took the lead in launching an attack. What? The tailed beasts were sealed in their bodies again. And they even used the tailed beast transformation. That means if necessary, they can even release the tailed beasts' bodies to fight. The 8-tailed and 9-tailed are indeed the strongest tailed beasts, but can they withstand the simultaneous attack of 7-tailed beasts? No wonder Naruto's body appeared here. This configuration is indeed much stronger than the 4 Kages who were resurrected by the impure world reincarnation before. So far, they haven't even used Pain's ability, and they have already fought Naruto and the other two on equal terms. Well, maybe it's not that he doesn't use it, but that he can't use it. Although they all have the Samsara Eye, there is no evidence that their abilities are the same. Just like the main Gekyo Sharingan, everyone has their own abilities. He jumped high and swung the short knife in his hand at the flying 7-tailed Fu. Although Fu with wings was much more sensitive in the air than Killer Bee and easily dodged his attack, Killer Bee still threw out the big knife Samethoda behind him as a feint, creating an opportunity to attack from the blind spot behind Fu. Killer Bee attached the lightning chakra to the short knife and threw it out. Facing this inevitable attack, Fu lowered her head and dodged without even looking. Killer Bee thought the enemy had dodged by chance, so he threw the second knife in his hand at the enemy, but the situation was just like the first attack. Fu just tilted her head slightly to avoid the lightning-fast attack. It is basically impossible to deal with this kind of shared vision combination when you are alone, especially in such a complex venue. In addition, due to the impure world reincarnation, it is much more difficult to defeat them one by one. It is still unknown which side will win. In fact, it is not so bad for the Jinchuriki, because they can launch a large-scale attack by completely transforming into tailed beasts, which can eliminate the advantage of shared vision. The problem is that the opponents are all Jinchuriki now. If you can completely transform into tailed beasts, the opponents can also do so. However, it is better to develop into a simple power duel than the current constrained state. It depends on what tactics they adopt. Just when Killer Bee was confused, Naruto quickly jumped to his side and told Killer Bee about the shared vision of the Samsara Eye. However, the enemy did not intend to let them discuss it leisurely. Old Purple covered with lava rushed straight towards Naruto. Just by brushing past each other, Naruto's cheek was burned by the extremely high temperature of the opponent. The wooden man took advantage of the victory and spit out more a ball of mouse-shaped blue flame towards Naruto, whose movements were deformed. Kirabe, seeing that the situation was not good, quickly stretched out his octopus legs to hook Naruto's body and moved away from the ninjutsu launched by the wooden man. Seeing this, the wooden man chased after him and stretched out his claws like a cat to launch a close-range attack. I remember that when Naruto fought with Sasuke in the Valley of the End, he relied on the tailed beast coat on his body to withstand Sasuke's fire escape, but here, Lao Zi just brushed past him and burned him. How high is the temperature? Sasuke is just fire, and Lao Zi is magma that can burn out fire. What's so strange about burning Naruto? Funny, Chapter 467. What's wrong with Naruto? He was able to fight the reincarnated Cage with his Cage clones before, but he's so embarrassed here. Because he relied on the help of others to achieve a one-on-one situation before, but here it's 7-2, the strength is much worse. 6 Jinchuriki plus a Fei, each of them can be regarded as Cage-level combat power. I wonder how many people in this world can easily gain the upper hand with such combat power. At the cost of having his scarf torn in half, Killer Bee left a slash wound on Yukido's chest, and then took the opportunity to take Naruto and hide in the nearby bushes. Kirabe secretly sighed that Yukido's skills had become stronger, but the Eight Tails saw it clearly. With the inside of the Sharingan and the Samsara Eye that shared the vision, the already difficult Jinchuriki became even more powerful. So through the connection of chakra, the Eight Tails threw the problem to Naruto, who had fought with Pine before. Naruto was also straightforward and told Pine that he needed to receive the controller's chakra through the black receiver on his body. The Eight Tails, who understood how to deal with it, suddenly felt a headache, because their attacks were difficult to even hit the enemy, let alone destroy the black receiver hidden somewhere on the opponent's body. I feel that the configuration of the Sharingan plus the Samsara Eye is stronger than the simple 2 Samsara Eyes, and it has the advantages of both. This does increase the inside of the Sharingan, but it is very likely that the ability of the Samsara Eye will also be weakened. Perhaps this is why they have not used Paine's ability so far. Did they directly target the black receiver this time? No wonder. It is really difficult to defeat them one by one in this situation. This is different from the previous invasion of Konoha. Nagato used corpses to create pain, but Ifei used the impure world reincarnation here. Even if the receiver is destroyed, the 6 Jinchuriki can still continue to move. Obviously this is just the first step. First, cut off the connection between the enemies, and then Naruto and the others can operate space. Is that it? Killer Bee suddenly spoke, and the Eight Tails looked at Yukido through Killer Bee's perspective and asked, which one? I looked up and took a closer look. I found a black protrusion. I thought it was her. Wow. The Eight Tails interrupted Killer Bee's obscene speech in the consciousness space, and was speechless about his behavior of saying obscene rap at a critical moment, and complained, what are you thinking about at the critical moment of deciding the future of the world? Naruto didn't want to pay attention to Killer Bee's joke. Since the black stick controlling Yukido was stuck in her chest, the same was probably true for others. So Naruto jumped out of the bushes regardless of the Eight Tails' dissuasion, and grabbed the fist of Lao Zi wrapped in magma without avoiding it. Since I can't hit or catch you, I can only take your attack and then catch you. Resisting the burning pain, Naruto stretched out a chakra arm from behind and shot a Rasengan at Lao Zi's chest. Tisk, this guy Killer Bee is not a serious person. You should have known this when he said the rap, not to mention that he gets along so well with Naruto. Why is Naruto involved? Although he often does some unreliable things, he can't be called unserious. Do you think a serious person would use a move like the 1,000 Years of Death? It's all Jiraiya and Kakashi's fault. If the teacher is unserious, the students will naturally follow suit. Kakashi wiped the non-existent cold sweat. He was talking about Killer Bee, so why did he burn him? Jiraiya shrugged calmly, not caring at all about being regarded as an unserious person. The result was exactly as Naruto expected. After the Rasengan tore open the clothes on Lao Zi's chest, the black stick stuck in his chest was exposed. However, just as Naruto was about to smash the black stick, the Five Tails man kicked Naruto in the face with great force and sent him flying. Killer Bee, who caught Naruto, was also pulled by the huge force and hit a boulder. Fortunately, both of them were thick-skinned and did not suffer any injuries. At this time, the Eight Tails gave advice, Fighting with these guys in the forest is not good for us. It will affect your vision. So you know, B. Raise this forest to the ground. Oh. Yo. I am the Eight-Tails Killer B, comma. A hurricane instantly spread out from the Eight-Tails to the surroundings, blowing away the enemies and flattening all the forests within a radius of hundreds of meters, creating an open plain without any shelter. When the attack subsided, the 6 Jinchuriki fell to the ground in a mess and quickly recovered their damaged bodies. Killer B did not miss this opportunity. At the reminder of the Eight-Tails, he performed the sealing technique, Billion Wrathful Nullifier, spit out 6 ink clones from his mouth and rushed towards the opposite side, relying on the locking technique to control the 6 Jinchuriki who were not moving smoothly. Oh, the Eight-Tails move is also spectacular. Well, if it weren't for Nagato's Shinra Tensei, I might be very surprised, but now my nerves are very tough, and this degree can't scare me. Huh? If you can still say these words on the spot, then I admire you. Why are you pretending to be a big shot here? Chapter 468. I have the mouth. I can say whatever I want. I'm anonymous now, so why can't I brag? This is the first time I've seen a sealing technique that relies on a lock technique. It's quite interesting. The lock technique is just to control the enemy. The key is the ink spit out by the Eight-Tails. After the Eight-Tails explanation, Naruto understood that it only took 3 seconds for the sealing technique to take effect. So after the 3-second countdown, Naruto looked at the Jinchuriki who had further transformed into a tailed beast on the field with excitement, and shouted excitedly, "Oh. So cool, did the seal succeed?" As he spoke, Naruto felt something was wrong, and the Eight-Tails said with embarrassment, "No. It's cool, but the enemy's strength has increased." Relying on the hollowing, a face slowly floated out of the ground. Under his control, the 6 Jinchuriki rushed towards the Eight-Tails. Although the size of the Eight-Tails was much larger than the enemy, its agility was far inferior. Relying on the special abilities of the tailed beasts, the 6 Jinchuriki jumped around on the Eight-Tails and attacked the Eight-Tails and Naruto one after another. Sure enough, the tailed beast transformation has taken a step further. If it continues like this, the tailed beast's true form will most likely be released. That will be the key to winning or losing. How did Ifei appear and disappear so mysteriously? This earth escape technique was performed without any sound. This performance is a bit strange. Did Ifei use earth escape technique? The lava of the 4 tails and the acid of the 6 tails fell on the 8 tails, while Naruto was attacked by the extremely fast 2 tails and 7 tails in turn. Finally, he was hit on the back by a coral palm from the 3 tails and fell off the 8 tails. The coral that grew rapidly on his back restricted Naruto's movements. If the 8 tails had not acted in time, Naruto might have fallen directly into the lava created by the 4 tails. Seeing the bad situation, the 8 tails hurriedly called Naruto to retreat so that he could regroup. As a result, just as he finished speaking, the 5 tails, which had fully transformed into tailed beasts, appeared in front of it, and then with a powerful impact, the 8 tails was knocked away. The not-so-sharp horns pierced the 8 tails' shoulder under the huge force. Even as strong as the tailed beasts are, it is not easy to deal with human-sized enemies. Killer B might as well learn from them and enter the half-tailed beast state. Maybe it would be easier to deal with them. Don't be so self-righteous. Isn't Naruto just using the power of the tailed beasts in human form? But he was also beaten back. Each enemy has his own strengths, so it is naturally impossible to come up with a strategy to deal with them one by one at once. It is normal to be at a disadvantage for a while. As long as you survive this wave of attacks, you can adjust and respond again. The question is, will the opponent give Naruto and others a chance to adjust? Look! The fully formed tailed beasts are out. Ifei wants to take the 2 of them away in one wave. It feels a bit risky. If the opponent releases all the tailed beasts, can the 8 tails and 9 tails alone withstand it? Hey, don't forget one more question. Does Naruto dare to release the 9 tails completely? What if he can't suppress it after it comes out? There is no chakra of the 4th Hokage to help this time. Ifei seized the opportunity and landed in front of Naruto with a big jump. After dodging his subconscious counterattack, he stretched out his hand to Naruto. Although we are both Jinchuriki, 6-2 is also very stressful. As long as this hand touches you, I will win. Oops, Naruto, who was stuck by the coral, could only watch Ifei's hand on his head. Seeing that the outcome was about to be decided, suddenly. Go. Konoha Vajra Cyclone. Akai, with green chakra wrapped around his body, appeared behind Afehi and kicked across his head with a whirlwind-like swiftness. Afehi reacted almost instantly and dodged the fatal kick by using his hollow formation, but the hand that was originally holding Naruto passed through his body. Then Kakashi, who also appeared here, took the opportunity to take Naruto away from Afehi's attack range. Oh my! He passed through. What kind of ability is this? So this is what Naruto meant when he bumped into Afehi's mask. He didn't use Earth Escape just now. Did Yamato mention that Afehi could become a spirit? It seems that's what he meant. No way, nothing can touch him. How can we deal with him? It feels worse than Shinra Tensei. Don't worry, maybe this move has some limitations like Shinra Tensei. Just like Itachi said, any technique has weaknesses and risks. I've been watching the sky for so long, and I don't believe that anyone can rely on one or two rare moves talk and run rampant in the ninja world. Those seemingly invincible strong men have failed many times. The fact that Kakashi and Kai can come here means that other battlefields have been decided one after another. Even if we are at a disadvantage here, as long as we continue to persist, Afei's advantage will become smaller and smaller. Using Naruto as bait, just to wait for the moment when I materialize, there are two more obstacles. Afei slowly stood up and looked down at the three people who fell to the ground. Even if there are two more people, it's useless. You are facing my pupil power and the power of the tailed beast. We also have Sharingan here. Kakashi looked at Afei coldly, and Kai also took an attacking stance, and Konoha's lonely blue wolf beast. You are here too. Kakashi teacher. Thick eyebrow teacher. Naruto looked at the backs of the two with excitement on his face. Kakashi turned his head and smiled and replied, the students of class 7 are all working so hard. How can I, as a teacher, stay out of it? Afei directly exposed his weakness. If he wants to exert influence on the outside world, he must materialize. Isn't that the same as the 5-second interval of Shinra Tensei? No, the difficulty has increased. You must seize the opportunity of that moment to hit Afei. With the inside of the Sharingan, the sneak attack tactic is basically impossible to achieve. Coupled with his space-time ninjutsu, the initiative is completely in the hands of the opponent. No wonder he has the confidence to start a war. Even if his goal cannot be achieved, as long as he is determined not to contact others, he is already invincible. Although he was very excited, Naruto didn't just enjoy himself. He quickly told the information he had so far. However, because he was too nervous, he spoke incoherently, which confused Kai, who had a poor understanding ability. Chapter 469. Kakashi understood what Naruto meant immediately and translated the content into words that Kai could understand. At this time, the Five Tails, which had fully recovered its animal nature, rushed towards the few people. Kakashi and Kai immediately ended their conversation and prepared to fight back. However, after Afei raised his hand and shot out a transparent chain, strangling the Five Tails' neck and throwing it to the ground, Kakashi realized that the opponent's target should be Afei, who was standing on the 8 tails. The fully formed tailed beast is out of control and is attacking Afei. In this case, the Ninja Coalition has a better chance of winning. At least they don't have to worry about being attacked by 7 tailed beasts at the same time. I don't care about that. I'm more curious about what kind of trick Afei used that chain to knock down the 5 tails so easily. Damn, the tailed beasts are no different from kittens in front of him. This is obviously much stronger than the tailed beasts. It must have been manipulated. Otherwise, he could have just used this trick to lock the 8 tails. Why would he have to control the Jinchuriki to fight? It's so uncomfortable. I was actually controlled by this bastard. The 5 tails fell to the ground in pain. In a trance, Naruto seemed to hear the sound it made. Half-Tails, who also heard the sound, clenched his palms tightly and wanted to crush Afei to death, but under the effect of hollowization, Afei walked out of his fist in an orderly manner and suppressed the 5 tails back to the half-tailed beast state with the power of the Samsara Eye. At this time, several other half-tailed beast Jinchuriki also came to Afei's side, and Naruto and the other 4 regrouped and prepared for battle. Hey! Did you hear that, Naruto? That voice? Killer Bee suddenly asked, and Naruto replied with a sullen face, I heard it. It looks like some kind of move that can suppress the power of the tailed beasts. Is it the ability of the Samsara Eye? I seem to have heard that the 2 nemesis of the power of the tailed beasts are the Sharingan and Wood Release. As the source of their power, it is not surprising that the Samsara Eye has the power to restrain the tailed beasts. The suppression power on the tailed beasts is so strong that it doesn't matter whether the tailed beasts are controlled or not. It seems unlikely that the tailed beasts that are out of control will fight back against Ifedi. That's the voice of the Five Tails. The Eight Tails said solemnly, looking at the Five Tails Jinchuriki whose neck was locked like a slave. He said angrily, "We tailed beasts also have feelings. Seeing that guy being treated like this, it's hard not to be angry. It hurts." "Hell, what are you talking about now?" The Nine Tails unexpectedly interrupted their conversation. "All those ninjas who treat our tailed beasts as pets do the same. Eight Tails, only you and that kid named Killer Bee are exceptions. HMPH. It's hard to say." Nine Tails. With a cold snort, the Eight Tails said meaningfully, "I understand, Nine Tails, you." This trend. The next perspective is indeed on the tailed beasts. It is most likely that this is the opportunity for Naruto to persuade the Nine Tails. Since the Eight Tails mentioned it, then I will one more question. We can communicate, so why do we often regard tailed beasts as disasters? Why don't we cooperate like ordinary summoned beasts? Isn't it because the tailed beasts often go berserk and out of control that the Jinchuriki are rejected? No, how should I put it, sealed in a remote place, and sealed for decades. If it were you, you would probably also want to break free and regain your freedom. As for the Jinchuriki going berserk because of the power of the tailed beasts during this process, it is not within the scope of the tailed beasts' concern. Is that so? But since ancient times, hasn't it been said that the Nine Tails is the incarnation of disaster? The other tailed beasts have a similar reputation. I haven't found the origin of this saying, so I can't tell whether the tailed beasts went berserk because they were sealed, or because their own power is unstable and easily out of control. From what the Eight Tails said on the Sky Curtain, it should be the former. Since Killer Bee became the perfect Jinchuriki, the Eight Tails has never gone berserk and lost control in Kumagakure. So, the reason why everyone is afraid of the tailed beasts is because of the person who first sealed the tailed beasts. Let me think about it. Who was the first person to seal the tailed beasts? The first Hokage. In order to end the Warring States period, he captured all the tailed beasts except the One Tails and distributed them to various countries, thus opening the era of using the tailed beasts as weapons. So, the culprit is the first Hokage. Is it because of him that the ninja world has become so uneasy? Konoha, do you want to give everyone an explanation? How funny. No one forced you to hurt the tailed beasts. It was obviously you who did it, but you actually want to put the blame on us, Konoha and the first Hokage. It's too shameless. What's funny is you guys. Other countries use the Jinchuriki combat system. If we don't follow suit, when the war breaks out, do we have to rely on the enemy's mercy to protect the village? Not everyone is Uzumaki Naruto. In the Pure Land, Hashirama Senju was squatting on the ground with a dark cloud over his whole body. He really didn't expect that his feat of distributing the tailed beasts was actually the beginning of the war. It can even be said that the tragic experience of the Jinchuriki was caused by him, and the reason was just because he didn't believe in the tailed beasts and didn't think they could communicate. I should have known I would not be the Hokage. Maybe it is right to leave everything to Madara. He is much smarter than me. Looking at the decadent Hashirama Senju who was about to melt, Tobirama Senju shouted angrily, "Brother, don't make such an expression, cheer up. I won't say that your decision is absolutely correct, but the situation is not as bad as those people on the Sky Curtain say. On the contrary, if you leave everything to Uchiha Madara, that would be the biggest problem. Don't forget, that guy had no intention of negotiating at the beginning. If it weren't for you, brother, who took the initiative to give in, who knows what chaos the ninja world would be like now. But. No buts. It doesn't matter what decision you make, brother. Anyway, it is absolutely not okay to let Uchiha Madara, a battle maniac, decide the future of the ninja world. Tobirama, are you really not prejudiced against Madara?" Chapter 470. Stop talking nonsense. Even if we only look at the number of tails, you are second only to my 8 tails in power. Go and get rid of them. I'm going to sleep. 9 tails interrupted 8 tails with a sharp voice and closed his eyes. Although 8 tails was not going to let 9 tails go, and kept chattering to encourage it to add some strength, it was helpless against 9 tails' operation of pretending to sleep, and could only be furious, causing Naruto, who was watching the fun, to show a hilarious expression. Kakashi naturally didn't know what happened to the tailed beasts in secret. After hearing Naruto's laughter, he quickly reminded him to concentrate, because at this time 6 Jinchuriki were already rushing towards them. How? What did the Nine Tails think was guessed, so it's embarrassed? Huh? I really didn't expect that one day I would hear the word sorry being used for the Nine Tails, and I didn't feel any sense of disobedience. Actually, I should have thought of it earlier. The Nine Tails is closer to Naruto than anyone else. How could Naruto leave it, the biggest source of hatred, unattended? This matter was destined when he decided to inherit Jiraiya's dream. Jiraiya probably didn't think so much. He probably didn't expect that his dream would include the tailed beasts. Kakashi and Kai took the initiative to meet them, and used Raikiri and the sixth gate of the 8 gates to intercept 3 of them, respectively. The remaining 3 were handled by Naruto and Killer Bee. Kakashi dealt with the 3 Jinchuriki while observing and analyzing their movements, trying to use this to distinguish which pine they each corresponded to. However, strangely, the 3 Jinchuriki never used Pine's unique abilities from beginning to end. While Kakashi and Kai were being pushed back by the 6-tailed Jinchuriki, Kai gave his own thoughts during the retreat, thinking that it was because Pine's ability had been cracked by them, so Faye didn't waste his chakra on this. Based on the performance of the 5-tailed trying to attack Faye, Kakashi analyzed that it was probably because the opponent's pupil power could not completely control the 6-tailed beasts. It feels like Kakashi's strength has grown a lot since Nagato invaded Konoha. The 2 of them actually fought evenly with 3 half-tailed beast transformed pains. More major events have happened in the next few years than in the past 10 years combined. With more battles, it's understandable that his strength has grown faster. That's true. If he had lived a stable life, even if Naruto was very talented, it would have been basically impossible for him to get that kind of strength at that age. Faye, who had been standing there watching the battle, naturally heard their conversation. So in order to show that he was at ease, he praised Kakashi's keen insight and directly released the power of the 6-tails Jinchuriki. The 6-tails Jinchuriki roared, and the next second, the complete 6 tails appeared in front of Kakashi and Kai. Its huge body crushed the ground, and at the same time, a shock was generated out of thin air that knocked the 2 of them out. Following Faye's instructions, the 4 tails also revealed its true form and directly knocked over the 8 tails. Naruto was also knocked to the 8 tails by this sudden attack. To make matters worse, Naruto suddenly exited the 9 tails chakra mode and returned to normal. Naruto has returned to normal. Does it mean that the 9 tails power has been used up? No way. It's understandable that the 9 tails power was exhausted when fighting the 3rd Raikage before. After all, it was just a clone, but this is the real body. Although I don't quite understand how Naruto uses the power of the tailed beasts in this form, don't equate the 9 tails power with Naruto's power. Just think about it and you know that the 9 tails will never let Naruto use his power willingly. Even if it's the real body, there should be a time limit. Damn it. The only way is to use the 9 tails chakra to create a shadow clone to lure the enemy and then attack the masked man. Naruto got up from the 8 tails in a mess, wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth, and said helplessly. Hearing this, Killer Bee quickly dissuaded him. You can't use the 9 tails chakra to create shadow clones anymore. When your chakra is absorbed by the 9 tails, you will really die, ascend to heaven. It's not advisable to act on impulse. B. Haven't you noticed? 8 tails explained based on his own findings. Naruto has created so many clones, and he should have been dying long ago. The reason why he's still alive now is probably that the 9 tails has stopped absorbing chakra from Naruto. Right, 9 tails. Although I don't know what happened between you what. What the hell? Naruto uses the power of the 9 tails, and the 9 tails also absorbs Naruto's power. Is this the price to pay for this golden form? Although Naruto has a lot of chakra, it is still far behind the 9 tails. In this case, the time to transform into this form may be shorter than expected. It seems that Naruto has tried to understand the 9 tails before, and should have confronted it, so the 9 tails will let it go. The 9 tails pretended to be asleep and did not respond, but the 8 tails words evoked its memory, reminding it of the blonde boy who smiled and said to it, "One day, I will eliminate the hatred in my heart." It also remembered that he categorically denied Afei's view that Jinchuriki is unfortunate. Thinking of this, the 9 tails opened his eyes and looked at the situation outside with a fierce look, but he never said a word. At this time, the 6 tails spit out a cloud of acid mist at Kakashi and Kai, forcing them to retreat. The 4 tails took the opportunity to grab one of the 8 tails and swung it away. Unprepared, Naruto was also thrown into the air. Then the 4 tails opened its mouth and was about to swallow him. Fortunately, At the critical moment, Naruto restored the Nine Tails chakra mode and supported the Four Tails upper and lower jaws to survive. Tisk. I have a feeling that the Nine Tails may be easier to subdue than Nagato. Perhaps only Naruto can say such a thing to the Nine Tails with a smile. By the way, can Fate control the tailed beasts in their perfect form? How come the Four Tails and the Six Tails are so coordinated to attack Naruto and the others? Maybe Fate was just careless before. Judging from the tone of his reply to Kakashi, the so-called pupil power is not enough to control the tailed beasts should not be true. Chapter 471. How? This is the first time I see Nine Tails acting so awkwardly. That kid named Uzumaki Naruto is good at it. Eight Tails sneered. Nine Tails slowly stood up from its prone position, grinning at the content displayed on the sky screen, and raised its claws to slam the seal door heavily. Eliminate my Nine Tails hatred, a mere Jinchuriki. A mere kid. How dare you speak so arrogantly? Roar. Fortunately, the seal had not been dissolved much by the Nine Tails' power at this time, so Naruto only felt that the Nine Tails was agitated, and was not affected by its power and lost his mind. Naruto held his stomach, looked at himself on the sky screen smiling brightly at the Nine Tails, and murmured with a complicated expression, Nine Tails. Kakashi and Kai noticed the situation over there, but they were busy dealing with the front and back attacks of the Six Tails and several other Jinchuriki. Although the two of them used Thunder and Peacock to break the enemy's attack, as long as they didn't knock the enemy down, they couldn't help Naruto for the time being. The Eight Tails stretched out its tail to tie up the Four Tails, trying to help Naruto break free, but in this wrestling situation, the Eight Tails couldn't make two delicate movements to pry open the Four Tails' mouth, so it could only ask the Nine Tails for help. Nine Tails, when Naruto was fighting Madara with his clone, you seemed to have lent him your power. If you plan to help this time, I don't mind helping. However, the Nine Tails refused without a second thought, and even the words he responded to were very unpleasant. I'm not you, Eight Tails, so I won't shake my tail to the Jinchuriki like you do. The Eight Tails immediately changed his face when he heard it, and shouted, no matter what happens to Naruto, you don't care. Tisk, I hate this kind of incoherent content the most. What happened before this? What did the Nine Tails do? Why does the Eight Tails think that the Nine Tails will help Naruto? Nine Tails helped. The reason for helping Naruto is easy to understand. After all, a Fetty is targeting it, so even if he has been plotting to seize Naruto's body, he will still help in a critical moment. Then why don't you help here? Aren't you afraid that Naruto will get into trouble? Listen to what the Eight Tails said. With a Nine Tails nose in the air attitude, if it rushes to help, will it still have face to speak of? Lying down, the Nine Tails remembered the arrogant Uchiha Madara who only regarded it as an ignorant beast, remembered the first generation of Hokage who suppressed and sealed it because of its too strong power, and also remembered the previous two Nine Tails Jinchuriki who regarded it as a disaster and never relaxed the power of the seal. No matter what you say, it actually means the same thing. Is it this brat this time? Those damn ninjas. He will not be an exception. In the memory, Naruto in his infancy and teenage years appeared one after another, and finally stopped at the smiling face where he smiled and told himself that he would eliminate its hatred. Is Uchiha Madara a psychopath? Why would he provoke the Nine Tails for no reason? Maybe he is preparing for the battle with the first Hokage. Wasn't there a corresponding scene when Afe recalled the past? He, Uchiha Madara, the first Hokage, then the first Hokage's wife Uzumaki Mido, and finally the fourth Hokage's wife Uzumaki Kushina. A group of people took turns persecuting the Nine Tails. No wonder it is so resentful. No wonder the Nine Tails behave so awkwardly, with an attitude of wanting to help but being reserved. Compared with Uchiha Madara, the first Hokage and others, Naruto is simply too good to be true, perfectly illustrating what it means that there is no harm without comparison. It seems that Naruto doesn't need to say anything. As long as the Nine Tails comes back a few more times, it may directly become Naruto's helper. At this time, the Four Tails suddenly opened its mouth outside, and Naruto lost his support point and fell directly into the Four Tails' belly. When he came to his senses, he found himself in a dark blue space, and the Four Tails, tied up tightly by chains, knelt in front of him in embarrassment. Before Naruto could figure out what was going on, the Four Tails said, "Are you the one who is going to take my power this time? You came here for this, you little brat." "You are, the Four Tails." Naruto looked at it with a puzzled look on his face, and when he heard him call him that, the Four Tails' tone suddenly rose. Don't call me the Four Tails, I have a name. I am the Monkey King of the Water Curtain Cave, the king of the immortal apes, given the title of Sun by the Sixth Path Sage, Sun Wukong, Rudu. Naruto, this is the ceiling space of the tailed beasts. How can it be so simple? It's a blessing in disguise. The seal of the Four Tails was lifted right here. Even if it won't help a Fei, it can at least reduce the opponent's combat power. It depends on whether a Fei has expected this. If he knows, it means that the main body of the seal is not here, and lifting the seal is nonsense. Sun Wukong. What a strange name. The Four Tails attaches great importance to his own name, and he even mentioned the Sixth Path Sage. This is evidence that the Sixth Path Sage really existed. It is finally no longer a legend or a record in literature. The person may exist, but the authenticity of the description of his ability remains to be verified. After all, the various descriptions are too exaggerated. Judging from the ability of the Samsara currently displayed by Nagato, it is far inferior to the legend. Naruto was stunned at first, then he showed a dumbfounded expression, and stammered in response, "Hey, which one is your name?" "Who are you?" "It's Son Goku." The Four Tails snorted coldly and said in a mocking tone, "Humph. Humans are really idiots. They can't even remember a name. They are worse than monkeys. I don't want to give my power to a guy like you." But Naruto ignored him and realized that he appeared in a strange place later. By the way, where is this place? It's very similar to the Nine Tails. Are you listening, bastard? Not only can you not remember the name, but you dare to ignore me. How rude. It feels like the Four Tails was broken by Naruto, and there is no way to be serious. As long as Naruto is not serious, it is difficult for people to take him seriously, even the tailed beasts are no exception. Chapter 472. Tisk. This guy must be out of his mind. Why did he relax so quickly after leaving the battle? The roar of the Four Tails brought Naruto back to his senses instantly. He scratched his face and apologized. Seeing his reaction, the Four Tails raised his eyebrows slightly. "You kid. Although you are a human, you are quite straightforward. This is the first time I have seen a guy who apologizes to a tailed beast. It seems that you are not here to take my power." As he said that, the Four Tails sensed the chakra of the Nine Tails in Naruto's body. "You also have it in your body. No wonder you can enter here." It seems that the Nine Tails disciplined the Jinchuriki well. The Nine Tails? What is the Nine Tails? Naruto tilted his head with a puzzled look on his face. The Four Tails immediately became angry again when he saw it. "You, as the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails, don't even know its name. That's why I hate humans the most. Hey. The Nine Tails also has a name." Naruto finally realized who the Four Tails was talking about, and a happy smile suddenly appeared on his face. "So it's called Kurama. Oh my. The attitude changed too quickly. Are the tailed beasts so easy to please? Isn't it just an apology? If I can get the support of the tailed beasts by apologizing, I can say it 100 times a day. It's definitely useless to just say it. The tailed beasts are not stupid." "Oh. You also mentioned the Nine Tails name. Kurama, it sounds weirder than Son Goku. It feels like the Four Tails cares about their names and gets angry easily. There must be something going on here. Maybe it's the key for Naruto to convince the Nine Tails next." "You talkative red-haired monkey, haven't you given up on that long-winded self-introduction, afraid that others don't know it's the same name as its name?" The Nine Tails mocked viciously, and then looked at Naruto, who was reading his name and smiling happily in the sky, and suddenly snorted heavily. "HMPH. Damn brat. In the eyes of you humans, we only symbolize strength, so you don't know our names, and you don't care to know them." The Four Tails looked at Naruto and said in a deep voice, "You locked us up and denied our existence." The Four Tails' words reminded Naruto of himself, who was rejected and denied by others. He lowered his head slightly and said, "I understand your feelings, although only part of it. I often play pranks because I want to be scolded. As long as I can attract other people's attention, it's okay, because it's better to be scolded than to be ignored. I am a Jinchuriki, but I also have my own loud name, Naruto, which belongs to me. It is the most important thing my parents and master left me." So. Naruto remembered what Ife said before. His expression was angry. "That guy who said he was nobody. He manipulated you at will. I can't stand it." Very good. Naruto's passive ability has been triggered, recalling the past, empathizing with others, and it is obvious what will happen next. I really didn't expect that those people who have completely different experiences from Naruto are fine. At least they are still human beings, but he can actually empathize with the tailed beasts. Fortunately, this guy is stupid and only wants to become a Hokage to realize his dream. If he develops his eloquence, for example, he sets up a position specifically to learn ninjas from other villages to join Konoha, with his talent for saying nice things I dare not imagine what the current ninja world will become. So, what are you going to do? How do you want to treat us? The Four Tails reacted unusually calmly to Naruto's nice words. Naruto didn't notice this and scratched his head and replied with an embarrassed look, I hope to be like Uncle Hai and the Eight Tails. After talking about it, he didn't feel embarrassed anymore. Naruto held the back of his head and said with a look of longing, he and the Eight Tails joked, quarreled and encouraged each other. Although I can't explain it clearly, I can feel that they are just like friends when I am around them. Anyway, that's what I think. It's so enviable. Look at this little expression of longing. Which tailed beast can't be moved by it? Being friends with the tailed beasts, it's easy to say, but it's not easy to make the tailed beasts open their hearts. Otherwise, there wouldn't be only a few people who can become perfect Jinchuriki in the ninja world. Even Nagato's situation was solved by Naruto. It depends on how the knots of these tailed beasts are, but it doesn't seem to be difficult for Naruto. Originally the most difficult part was how can people deal with the fact that parents died because of the Nine Tails, but after experiencing Nagato, this situation is not a big problem for Naruto. Be friends with a tailed beast. Naruto touched his belly and sighed softly. He really envied the way Killer Bee and the Eight Tails get along, but he didn't have much confidence that he and the Nine Tails could be like them. If nothing else, compared with a Naruto who had experienced a lot on the sky, he still had some hatred for Nagato and the Nine Tails. As for the Nine Tails, Naruto had seen it in the consciousness space, and he could never forget its posture wrapped in hatred. Let alone resolve it, just getting a little closer, Naruto felt that he was almost drowning in that hatred. Feeling deeply inadequate, Naruto could only encourage himself to continue working hard, training his strength and mind, so that sooner or later he would achieve this goal. Ahahaha. The Four-Tail burst into hysterical laughter, and said in a mocking tone, you, a human, don't really want to be friends with the tailed beasts. Ha. Until the Four-Tail saw Naruto's serious eyes, the laughter gradually subsided. This guy is speaking the truth, so I want to save you too. What's your name? Just call me son. Speechless by Naruto's brain, the Four-Tail showed a helpless expression, then it skipped the topic of the name and asked, by the way, you have been swallowed by me, what are you going to do? Naruto then reacted to the current situation, and after a panic, he quickly calmed down and thought about countermeasures. Seeing Naruto thinking seriously, the Four-Tail decided to take a gamble and said, it's not that there is no way to stop me. As long as you help me untie this chain, I will tell you. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 473. I was right. These tailed beasts are really easy to please, that's based on Naruto's personality. How many ordinary ninjas would really want to make friends with the tailed beasts, especially after experiencing the common tragic experiences of Jinchuriki? There's no need to put yourself in this situation. Anyway, we are not Jinchuriki and have no right to contact the tailed beasts. We just need to know that the tailed beasts on the other side will soon turn against us and become Naruto's helpers. Before that, we must first untie the restraints on the tailed beasts, otherwise only to be knocked down by a Fei in one move. Really, son? Tell me the solution. Naruto urged excitedly, but the Four-Tails showed a defiant expression. I've said it before, I never believe in Jinchuriki, and it's ridiculous to be friends with the tailed beasts. In other words, don't think that you helped me and I'm your companion, I won't trust you. Just like now, I almost understand what to do. Naruto didn't hesitate and showed a bright smile without any grudges at this time. The Nine Tails in Naruto's body saw all this. Naruto, I have been watching you until today, so you should understand that no matter what you say to me or to other tailed beasts, it is meaningless, and your sincerity cannot be conveyed to us. The Four-Tails is really acting awkwardly. They have to say so many words to draw a line before the battle. Can't they be more frank? It feels like these tailed beasts are all of the same temperament. The 8 tails also spoke in the same way when they wanted the 9 tails to help. It's just Two-Face saving. But it's true. It's a bit embarrassing to express trust in someone all of a sudden. It's understandable that they say something sarcastic. What does the 9 tails mean? I don't quite understand it. It means that in order to gain the trust of the tailed beasts, you must give your heart. It sounds like it's mocking the nice words Naruto said before, but the tone doesn't sound like it. Outside, Afei stretched out his hand towards the 4 tails. A chain was generated from the black stick inserted into the 4 tails' neck, and then extended towards Afei. He was ready to directly absorb the 4 tails and Naruto into his body. At this time, Naruto had already woken up and was trying his best to pry open the 4 tails' tightly clenched teeth. After a series of unsuccessful attempts, Naruto was quick-witted and used multiple shadow clones to pry open the 4 tails' mouth and escape. After escaping, Naruto immediately focused his attention on the 4 tails' neck. According to the 4 tails, the black stick that bound and controlled it was inserted on its neck. As long as it could be pulled out, Afei would no longer be able to control it. However, before that, Naruto needed to deal with its attacks first. So that's how it is. Controlling the tailed beasts also relies on those black sticks, which is essentially the same as controlling Pine. By the way, did Naruto intend to attack the black sticks from the beginning? Why did the 4 tails need to emphasize it again? It's mainly to express Naruto's sincere desire to rescue the tailed beasts. Besides, didn't the 4 tails also tell the location of the black sticks, saving Naruto and the others the trouble of looking for them? After withstanding the 4 tails' palm, Naruto reached its neck with his extended chakra arm, and without saying a word, he grasped the black stick and was about to pull it out, but Afei suddenly raised his hand and moved, and a transparent chain shot out from the black stick and bound Naruto, who was close at hand. Now, let alone pulling out a black stick to release the 4 tails, even Naruto himself was bound by the outer power on the chain and could not move. In the end, it's still the same as before. In the consciousness space, the 9-tailed fox was still lying on the ground calmly, with its eyes slightly open, paying attention to Naruto's every move. At the same time, all of Naruto's past experiences emerged in its mind. Tisk, this black stick is much stronger than expected to suppress the tailed beasts. Naruto was restrained just by holding it. After all, it involves the Samsara Eye. Did everyone analyze the Samsara Eye's pupil power to restrain the power of the tailed beasts before? Here is another example. What riddle is the 9 tails talking about? What is the same as before? The same unreliability? The same clumsiness? That's not right. The 9 tails has always been with Naruto. No one has been with Naruto for longer than it, so it should understand better than anyone that although Naruto is a little unreliable at ordinary times, he is still very reliable at critical moments. Why is it saying such discouraging words here? He has been shouting that he wants to become a Hokage since he was a child. He brazenly told Iruka that he would surpass all the previous Hokage. He relied on more than 1,000 people to learn for the first time the Shadow Clone defeated the rebellious ninja Mizuki, proved to Inari that heroes exist, and defeated Niji in the Chunin exam as the last place. Untied Tsunade's heart knot, the dream that she would not give up even in the face of death, the peace that she always insisted on without knowing the answer. In the end, she wanted to eliminate its hatred, wanted to be friends with the tailed beasts, wanted to help them. Naruto, if you really want to do something for us tailed beasts, just like you have always done. The eyes of the 9 tails slowly opened. Oh, so it turns out that closing your eyes is not because you feel disappointed, but because you are lost in memories. It has been with Naruto all the way. Even if the 9 tails doesn't want to admit it, it does know Naruto better than anyone else, especially how many times Naruto has relied on its power to turn the tide. What has it always been like? What else can it be? Just say what you want to say and do what you say. Just look inside the 4 tails' mouth. One of Naruto's shadow clones entered the sage mode, and drilled into the 4 tails' throat with a perception of this form. Is the main body outside here? After determining the location, Naruto raised his hand and made a gesture of charging. I have said hello before, so I may be a little heavy, please bear with me, grandson. I will push it out from the inside. Frog strike. Without hesitation, Naruto slammed his palm on the throat wall of the 4 tails, and the 9 tails also opened his eyes completely at this time, shouting in his heart, just like always, prove it with actions, Naruto. That's you. As Naruto's palm fell, The attack spread like ripples on the throat wall, and the black stick firmly stuck in the throat of the Four Tails was pushed out of the body. Seeing this scene, even a deep-minded Nine Tails couldn't help but smile excitedly. Yes, that's you. Chapter 474. What I admire most about Naruto is that he doesn't think much, but he always makes the most correct judgment and action at the critical moment. Being swallowed by the Four Tails is not a bad thing. It turns the situation around in an instant. Ha! It seems that the Nine Tails is more excited than Naruto. It must have been waiting for this moment. It seems that Naruto really doesn't need to say anything. The Nine Tails is already completely on his side. That's because Naruto's efforts have always touched the Nine Tails. Since he knows that his ninja way is to do what he says, the Nine Tails naturally has no need to continue to fight him. After all, the Nine Tails himself said that what the tailed beasts want is sincerity, which is not difficult or easy. Looking at his excited appearance on the sky, the Nine Tails felt ashamed and angry that his dark history was exposed. Although it didn't experience many things with Naruto like the Nine Tails on the sky, after watching the sky for so long, the Nine Tails naturally had a fairly comprehensive understanding of Naruto's character. The Nine-Tailed Fox knew that as time went by, even if what happened next was completely different from what happened on the sky, as long as Naruto's personality did not change, the scene on the sky would happen again in reality sooner or later. To be honest, the Nine-Tailed Fox was still looking forward to the appearance of the person who could gain the trust of their tailed beasts, but he would not be interested in public execution like now. The Nine-Tailed Fox could already imagine how the other tailed beasts were laughing at it now. How could it not feel ashamed and angry? Damn the sky. At the moment when the black stick was pulled out of the body, in the dark blue consciousness space, the chains that bound the Four Tails' limbs instantly broke, leaving only the thickest chain still running through its abdomen. Naruto was very confused about this, but the Four Tails seemed to have expected this reaction and explained to Naruto, "The black stick can temporarily suppress my chakra in the body of the Jinchuriki, and the masked man controls my chakra through the outer path demon statue. Did you know this a long time ago? How can I save you?" Naruto asked aggressively. Looking at his reaction, the Four Tails was still a little unbelievable. "Boy, are you really?" "Of course." Naruto answered without thinking. Looking at his panting but unevasive eyes, the Four Tails couldn't help asking himself, "Does this guy really want to save me?" I was wondering why Afe always looked so relaxed. It turns out he has a backup plan. Jito statue. Isn't this the name of the giant statue that was summoned when Nagato and Hanzo were fighting? How is it related to Fehi again? According to what the Four Tails said, the Jiro statue is the key to controlling the tailed beasts. There's no need to ask, it must be related to the Samsara Eye again. The Four Tails still doesn't quite believe that Naruto is sincere. After all, it's not like the Nine Tails that has been following Naruto all the time, and it hasn't met anyone like it before, so it's normal for it to be suspicious. Without wasting any more time on this issue, the Four Tails calmly said that it only told Naruto a way to stop it, not a way to save it, and then bluntly said that it had something to give him. Naruto looked at a loss, but still stretched out his hand at the Four Tails' urging, and the Four Tails also stretched out its hand as much as possible. The two sides clenched their fists and Naruto was stunned at first, not knowing what he got, and a bright smile suddenly appeared on his face. At the same time, watching Naruto pull out the black stick, Afe cursed and summoned the outer path demon statue. Without saying a word, he dragged the Four Tails, which he had finally dealt with, back into the outer path demon statue, leaving Lao Zi's body in place. The Eight Tails looked at this scene with reluctance. Naruto also fell to Lao Zi's side, propped up his legs and looked at Afe standing on the head of the outer path demon statue, panting. This. Although I don't know what the Four Tails gave Naruto, seeing that he is smiling so happily, this is definitely a sign that he has gained trust. It just said so confidently, but it has only been a short time and it has broken its promise. Well, I know this is because of Naruto's unique personality, but it is so easy to gain the trust of the tailed beasts. Has no other Jinchuriki ever achieved this in the past? Those perfect Jinchuriki are. But they only get the trust of the tailed beast in their bodies. Looking at Naruto's situation, he should want to catch all the tailed beasts in one fell swoop. HMPH. The Nine Tails snorted coldly. He originally wanted to mock the Four Tails for being spineless and not keeping his word, but when he thought that he would probably not be able to escape this next time, he swallowed a mockery after eating. He consoled himself that at least there were other tailed beasts to share the shame of this public execution with him. Oh my god. The four tails was swallowed by that outer path demon statue so casually. In this case, it seems that it is not only the key to control the tailed beasts, but also can be used as a container for the tailed beasts. The one tails that has never appeared is not on there. You are so tired after just killing one. What can you use to fight me? Afei looked at Naruto and said disdainfully, I will not hold back from now on. Enjoy these tailed beasts that you cherish and belong to me. As he said this, Afei released the power of the other four Jinchuriki at the same time. Together with the original 6 tails, 5 complete tailed beasts appeared on the battlefield. It doesn't look good no matter how you look at it. Look at how weak you look. In the consciousness space, the 9 tails saw the changes in the outside world and said to Naruto outside the sealed door. With his back to it, Naruto knelt on the ground, panting, and replied stubbornly, ha, 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 just watch. Naruto's consumption seems to be greater than expected. He is almost exhausted. It seems that the previous attack of the 5-tailed beast was indeed just Afei's negligence. He seems to be able to control the 5-tailed beasts at the same time. I wonder how Naruto and the others will deal with it. See that the 9-tailed beast took the initiative to talk to you, don't you understand? Naruto will fully release the power of the 9-tailed beast next. It's not easy. Are you finally going to become a perfect Jinchuriki? Not only that, but also a complete transformation of the tailed beast. If you need my power, I may help you, Naruto. The 9-tailed beast looked down at Naruto. Huh? You've been talking to me a lot lately. Naruto grinned and turned his head to look at the 9 tails behind him. I'm glad you're willing to lend me your power, but before that, I have something to make clear. Chapter 475. Naruto turned around and faced the 9 tails, saying earnestly, thank you for lending me your strength when I was fighting another Madara just now. It really helped a lot. However, Naruto's words seemed to have stepped on the 9 tails' tail, and it suddenly became excited, ! Thank you for what? It's disgusting. I just think it's better to help you than to be controlled by Madara. Besides, with a barrier of this cage, the chakra I give you is insignificant. This time I just want to watch you fight more. Yes. Just killing time. Ha. The 9 tails is embarrassed by Naruto's straight talk. Really, if you want to help, just help. Why find so many excuses? You know what, even if the target is not a tailed beast, most people should find it difficult to express their inner thoughts like Naruto. Naruto, this guy, he uses the same tactics to capture tailed beasts and girls. Not only that, he also uses the same tactics to capture boys, which shows how pure Naruto's feelings are. I just said thank you, why are you so angry? Even if you can't change your fierce eyes, at least change your temper, no wonder it took so long. Naruto shouted angrily, but unexpectedly, the 9 tails stretched out its fist through the sealed door. Connect your chakra with mine. Naruto was stunned at first, then laughed. Is it another chakra tug of war? Idiot. No need this time. Well, but I'm also quite free. If you want to pull it, it's okay. The 9 tails joked with a fierce face. Naruto looked at it, then smiled and stretched out his hand to bump fists with it, feeling each other's thoughts after the chakra connection, and both sides smiled happily at the same time. Oh. It was the 9 tails who took the first step. You are amazing, Naruto. Even now, does anyone still think that Naruto has some kind of bloodline limit that can charm others? It's the same as the 4 tails, it's also a fist bump. Does this action have any special meaning among the tailed beasts? Well, although I don't know what tug of war means, from the semantics, the 9 tails is ready to give all its chakra to Naruto to use. If the meaning is the same, then it means that Naruto also has the chakra of the 4 tails in his body at this time. How much chakra can be given by just a fist bump? Unless the 9 tails is directly sealed in Naruto's body like this. The 9 tails, who was originally a little embarrassed, was speechless. It has forgotten how long it has been since it showed that kind of relaxed smile. Especially after being named the Beast of Disaster, hatred and anger are its daily emotional state. Thanks to the excitement at this time, the 9-tailed fox could not help but think of the prophecy of the great toad sage that the 6-path sage had told them before his death. The blue-eyed boy laughed and called the name of the 9-headed beast. Such an obvious hint, coupled with the scene on the sky, even though the 9-tailed fox still hadn't completely let it go, it had to admit that Naruto was the one they had been waiting for. Thinking of this, the nine-tailed fox slowly laid down with its chin on its front paws, staring at the man and the beast smiling at each other on the sky, without saying a word. As the person involved, Naruto, although he didn't know that the six-path sage had mentioned a prophecy about him to the tailed beast, after seeing this scene on the sky, he couldn't help but have the idea that this was not a bad idea. Inside the belly of the god of death, Minato smiled and said to the Yinji Uwai in his body, "See, Kurama, just like what we are like now, Naruto has indeed reached a consensus with you. Tisk. If I wasn't locked up in this dark place, do you think I would pay attention to you?" Yinji Uwai said angrily, looking quite unconvinced. However, Minato knew that it could never say good things, so he didn't care about it. He chuckled and looked at Naruto's performance on the sky again. In the Pure Land, Hashirama Senju looked at the smiling nine tails on the sky with a self-blaming face, frowned and said in a deep voice, "I was wrong. I should have preconceived that the nine tails was dangerous just because Madara controlled it. Not only did the younger generation suffer so much unreasonable treatment, but it was also very unfair to the nine tails. Obviously I could do better." Looking at Hashirama Senju, who was about to become frustrated again, Tobirama Senju folded his hands, thought for a moment and said, "We are not gods, we can't accurately predict everything, we can only prepare corresponding strategies based on the worst results, so under the circumstances at the time, there was nothing wrong with your approach, brother. But, after all, I was wrong. Mistakes are inevitable." Senju Tobirama interrupted Senju Hashirama's words, "We entrust the burden to the younger generation because we believe that they will not repeat the same mistakes and will do our business better. Since the kid on the sky is determined to surpass the previous Hokage, what do we seniors have to worry about? Just believe in him." At the same time, somewhere in the Pure Land, Uchiha Madara looked at the sky with cold eyes, without any emotion on his face. In his opinion, as long as peace can be achieved, sacrificing a few intelligent beasts is nothing, and naturally he will not have any emotional fluctuations about the scene of Naruto and the nine tails sympathizing with each other on the sky. After all, he had completely denied the idea of mutual understanding a long time ago, and he was definitely more determined than Nagato on this point. Outside, Naruto calmed down his breath, stood up and looked at the five-tailed beasts not far away, and shouted with full spirit, "It's time. Uncle B. 2 people in a group, I'll lead. Naruto will assist." Absolutely smart, Killer B made the arrangement, fearing that Naruto would have an opinion. The eight tails also explained, "After all, our enemies are also five-tailed beasts, and you who can't transform into tailed beasts should not be the main attacker. Uncle B and eight tails are both injured, so don't distinguish between the main and the secondary. Go together." The eight tails was most worried about this point of his, and hurriedly opened his mouth to dissuade him, but heard Naruto say, "Besides, we are also a two-person team." Hearing this, the eight tails showed a surprised expression, and Naruto said proudly, "I have endless energy now, here it comes, complete transformation into a tailed beast, the representative move of the perfect Jinchuriki. Now Naruto can squander chakra more lavishly. Let's try the familiar Shadow Clone plus Rasengan tactics." End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.